da, da. Da, 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 da. Yeah, your mouth open like this. Oh.
Oh, great.
Not so cold tonight. Let's have a look. That's the temperature here. Not too bad. Celsius 16.8. So tonight's not going to be as cold. We got down to nearly 0 the other day. Didn't like that at all. Just had some leek, bacon and potato soup, and it was delicious. Actually, a lady asked me, how do you get the sand out of leek? Because it can be a problem. Well, you got the leek, it's about that long, and you got the green bit on the end as the leaves start. Cut that off just before the green. Cut the root off. Instead of chopping little ringlets, first of all cut down the middle so it's halves. Then chop it up. Put it in a colander, wash it for a good couple of minutes. You'll get rid of all the grit. A lot of people have that problem. They'll just cut the rings of the leek and then wash it a bit, and then of course all the sand is between the rings. As it grows, it traps it, so that's the way to do it. Leek is magnificent tasting, but not with little gritty bits in between. Very unpleasant if you get gritty bits in your leek. But it was tasty. Didn't hurt having a couple of bits of crunchy Vienna bread. That was yum. Sun's just going down here. Just about finished. The evening is upon us. So I enjoyed that. You don't have to have a big meal every night. Just a nice big bowl. It was a big bowl of leek and potato, bacon soup. It was yum. A lot of people, and for different reasons, don't cook at all. I've got a couple of friends that just don't cook. They eat out. They buy, well, still eat now, they buy packaged sandwiches that someone else has made. Buy those TV dinners, bing, in the microwave. Really not. There's so much full of sodium, and like in that leek and bacon potato soup, I don't put any salt at all because the bacon is cured with salt, so you don't need any salt in there. You put any salt in it, it'd be too salty. And yeah, but it's surprising how many people just don't cook. They'll do toast, or they'll do some instant porridge or something like that. But I don't know if the art of cooking is just dying. Hello, Ginger. I was just saying, I did answer you. I'm not sure if you knew what I meant. I'll graphically display it again. You got your leek and all the leafy bits down here. All right, the leafy bit is just going white. Chop that off. And the root bit down the bottom, all the roots hanging off. Chop that off. And then before you cut little ringlets, first of all cut it all the way down the middle so it's 2 halves. And then you can cut whatever size you like. Then you've really got to rinse it for a couple of minutes. I put it under a cold tap and I just keep going, keep going. It all breaks up. There's no ringlets. They're all, because they're cut in half. And that's how you keep the grit out of your leek. And I've done it in the past. Yeah, like half moons. What you're doing is, because it's round and you cut it in half, you actually open up the leaves. They open up, and that way, but give it a, get your hand in there and sort of crush it. And because if you're making anything to do with leek, it might be a quiche, might be adding just to a soup like I did, or stew. It's got a unique flavour. Like you said, leek's got a definitive flavour. It's like asparagus. Some people don't like asparagus, but sometimes I'll have a vegetable soup and just throw a couple of asparagus in them. But I didn't put any onion in this one. You don't have to. But normally I put, and I did with this one, a bit of garlic, and then you can add a bit of onion, leek. I generally, if you looked at how much leek I'd cut up and the amount of potatoes I cut up, they're about the same. Okay, so it's about half and half. Not in volume, because potatoes way more, but you know what I mean, the pile. And then the bacon, I put about 4 rashers of, and I always use streaky bacon because it's just got that different flavour. And I cook it just until it doesn't go crisp like I had for breakfast, but I don't quite cook it through. Then I put it on a paper towel, let it cool down. Then I'll put it on a board and just chop up the bacon finely. I put it all in the pan, I add a bit of parsley. You can add whatever you like. There are no rules for what you add. Sometimes if you add too much, you bugger it up. In other words, keeping it simple and just having leek, bacon and potato. Hello, Laura. And at the end, you might have noticed that it was quite creamy, and I put in probably a couple of tablespoons of cream. Doesn't matter what cream it is. It can be sour cream, but I just use normal cream in this case. And then you just I cooked it 2 days ago and reheated it tonight just slowly in the pan, and it's magnificent. Freezes really well too. Bacon, leek and potato soup. A few months in the freezer, no drama. But I was saying, probably to myself, just before you got here, that I'm not saying everyone doesn't cook, but it's like people can't be bothered cooking. I love cooking, so I have no excuses. I'll be thinking of something, I'll look in the cupboard and the fridge and think, I can make something out of this. It is. Soups are always better the second time, particularly when I make my pea and ham soup. About 2 or 3 days later, it's just awesome. Oh, you're texting on your phone, I guess, Laura. But it's not that people can't, I don't think it's true that people can't cook. A garden and can most of, yeah. I'm not doing it here yet, but I will be. This time next year you'll see a good garden. Because we're building. No point putting a garden in if bulldozers are going to come in. But it's not that people can't cook. I truly believe people can cook. They just choose not to, if you know what I mean. Like, I've got a few friends that will open a tin of soup. Nothing wrong with that, but if you read the ingredients, it's full of sodium. For one main reason, they put a lot of salt in processed food, so it lasts longer. Sometimes you see soups with less salt. They use the word less salt. They don't say no salt. But it doesn't take much to get a few veg, put them in a pan, make up a stock, or if you've got powdered stock, that's fine. I've got no anger with people using powdered stock. If you can get chicken or veg or beef stock, just gives you a bit of a boost to start with. And I nearly bought a whole heap of beef bones today to make some bone broth. But I didn't. I knew I had all the soup at home. I think, I better use this first. Yeah, it's something we need. G'day 180. It's not as if we don't need salt. Don't let anyone tell you that at all. That's not true. G'day Milky Way. It's not that you don't need salt. It's that you just don't need a lot of it. You know, if the world turned to crap, I'd be quite a wealthy man, because I know how to turn seawater into salt and water through condensation. Why would that be important? Because you can preserve foods with salt. You can preserve fish, beef. In my case, lots of kangaroo. Cut it in strips, dry it, you know, put it in a brine, lasts for months. But salt is in everything. And I know no one reads any labels. You know, you often see these TV programs, investigative TV programs. Look at the salt in this and read the labels and read the no one does. They just pick it up and go, oh yeah, that's cheap. You know what I mean? That's cheap. I'll buy that. But cheap can be nasty. And I'm not an advocate for absolutely no takeaway food. Not really. It's a brine. It's a very strong brine when they do bacon. Good, Ginger, I'm glad you are. But people don't generally read labels. It's one of those things that They might do it a bit, look, with my old eyes I go, "Ugh," and it's so small. You know, it could say, if you consume this, it will kill you. But I can't read it. It's too small. But fresh, I like. I like getting my meat from a butcher who basically cuts the carcass up and puts it on a tray, and then I buy it in a brown paper bag or white butcher's paper. A lot of foods in the... Are you into desserts? Yeah, I make a few. Desserts Milky Way. I should do some, actually. I make a heap. I make a wicked apple crumble by using the old method of flour and butter and raw sugar, you know, rubbing it between your hands till it gets all crumbly, cooking your own apples up. I also make a real nasty rice pudding, you know, the one with a bit of a skin on top in the oven. Oh, just like my mum used to make. And it's all really simple foods. It's not complicated. I make my own custard. And it's not like people go, oh, I can't be bothered, because that is their answer. It tastes different. Believe me, I do the two-type method. I'll put half the milk in the pan, and then I'll put the other half of milk into a container, add the eggs, you know what I mean. If you want a bit of nutmeg, whatever you want to do, a bit of sugar. And then when this is heated up in the pan, and I just pour it in slowly, and then slowly, and you've got custard. It's not like magic, you know. People go, wow, you made custard. It's not that hard. But I'll go back to what I said. People just can't be bothered. If they want an apple pie, they'll buy one. If they want custard, they'll buy that. And I'll guarantee you, this is true, most of the time, they don't eat all the custard. So they throw it out after a couple of days. I'm sort of finicky on that. I do throw excess, like potato peelings, carrot bits and pieces, tops in it, to the chickens, but don't go in the bin. It's like we've made our lives, yeah, you just hit it on the head there, Laura. We've made our lives believed to be so busy that we don't do these things. But if I said to you, and if you guys were honest, I'm going to put down what I do. If you guys are honest, how many hours a week in 7 days do you spend online? Me, it's about 10 or 12 for the week, 10 or 12. But there's one way of finding out. On YouTube alone, you can go to a section that says how many hours I've watched today, this week, this month or something, and it'll tell you. And then if someone said, oh, I spent 20 hours on this week, I'd be saying, well, for a couple of those hours, if you did a bit of cooking, you'd save money, it would taste good, and there's one thing you will do if you're not really good at cooking in the beginning, you'll burn stuff, and you'll cook stuff that's awful, and that's okay. That's a learning process. Oh, I had the pan on too hot. Yeah, I don't know where it is. Someone pointed it out to me, and I did find it. It's under your, when you click your channel, you know, when you click your icon, go to my channel, and there's something down there that says how many hours you've been on. And someone actually was honest with me last week. They said 65 hours on YouTube alone. A friend of mine. 65 hours. And I said, did you ever work in a week 65 hours? And he said, no. Just 40, but 65 hours. So it's not that we have no time to garden, like Ginger does, or to cook, like we do. It's that you choose to sit in front of a computer or a phone like this and type and listen to other people. I'll tell you what I do sometimes. I will listen to an interesting chat, but I'll put my phone on the kitchen shelf. And every now and then, I'm cooking away and I look over, silly buggers, mad as cut snakes, those buggers. So I can still listen, but I can still cook. And there's when you learn to cook the basics, look, I mean, some people wouldn't even know how to make just scrambled eggs or to fry a damn egg. I mean, the one thing you can't do is go to a takeaway fried egg store, because you actually got to buy a burger with it. A lot of people have eggs in the morning, and it's really simple. I once did a video many years ago, and I never kept it up. A friend of mine who was hopeless, He bought the most expensive pots and pans in the world and destroyed most of them. You did, right, Milky? But so I showed him how to make mash, because he came around and said, "Oh, I love your mashed potato." So I said, "This is what you're going to do." So I showed him mashed potato, and I use a little bit of butter at the end, and I keep my mashed potato not sloppy and certainly not really hard, but in between, nice and nice. And he said, that's how I had it. Yeah. And so he did one. He did a video for me, and it turned out great. And then he wanted to know how to make gravy, and I said, I'm not even going to teach you that, but I'll show you how to make instant gravy. So I got him to get a little tin of that instant stuff, you know, add the hot water. At least it was gravy, not like off the back of my roast beef. But, and then he learned how to cook sausages, because all he would do, and this is what a lot of kids do, they'll stick the fry pan on, turn it on high, chuck the sausages in, and they sit back and watch television or watch YouTube. And then there's the smoke alarm going off. What the hell? Because it's like they think, oh, it'll look after itself. It doesn't. You've only got to turn the sausage 3 or 4 times. You don't have them up so high. Medium high sometimes. And then he wanted to learn how to make soups. And to this day he thanks me, because he now cooks the basics of chicken, eggs, all different types of dishes and eggs, mash, soups, like I said, stews, and he's competent in those little areas. And like I said to him, and I say it to anyone, don't learn to cook food that you don't normally eat. Learn to cook food you normally eat. That makes it easy. Like if you like sausages, mash, and onion gravy, become an expert in that. In lasagna, which is nearly impossible to fail making lasagna, but that's a lovely dish. But some people, like I say, that use the words, I do not have time, next time they say it to you, Ginger, or someone else here, definitely tell them to click that little button on YouTube, see how many hours a week. Yeah, I think one of the things, Ginger does it, I do it. I've not done it yet here, but I've done it for 50 years. It's grow my own vegetables. That if you can learn the basics of growing the food that you eat, seriously, if you only eat peas, potatoes, carrots, onions, chilies, tomatoes, just grow those. And after a couple of seasons of winning and losing, and then you get it right and you get the balance, there you go. You've got all the main foods in the garden that you normally eat. But I think if you can minimise the processed foods, I'm not telling you what to do, but if you can minimise them, not eat out as much, and spend a little less time listening to me on YouTube, or you know what I mean, you get lost sometimes sitting on the internet for hours and hours. And I like doing things you don't see behind the scenes. I make my own pickled onions, I make my own chili sauces, tomato sauces. I just like doing it. I can't show you yet, but I've just got the final plans for our extension, which includes behind here, the old kitchen. I'm going to have a really big walk-in pantry, which I always love. I like the idea of walking in there, my domain. Oh. But that's always an important part to me. But I'll have a herb garden just out the side door here, in a little garden bed. I use probably about 12 herbs. That's what I'll be growing. Not things I don't use. I'll have down the back, I'll have fruit trees. I'm going to do a big line of blueberries for the missus, because she eats a punnet of blueberries a day. They cost a fortune. But, and just all the things that we like to eat. How long? Well, the bulk of it will be done in about 5 months. But there's then the peripherals. There's paving, putting in a pool, and other bits and pieces, paving around the front, putting a veranda around the front. So it'll be, the bulk of it will be finished in about 5 months. By Christmas it'll be looking a bit spiffy. Here's the cute one.
Oh, he's on. Hello everyone. You've got 3 people.
I don't mind talking to 3 people.
It will be Ginger. He's all doing well? Sid's finished telling his story. What was he saying about the...
I was just good to talk. Well, I was talking in general about cooking, gardening, things like that. Going to be near 100. That's not too bad. I'm not keeping. That's not that hot. It's warm. But we're having it really cold here. Mrs. Seed's Milkway said hello.
Hello.
But
Hello, anyone I missed?
nearly zero in the last couple of mornings, which is unusual for us. And I figure on the balance of evenness, if it's really cold in the southern hemisphere, it's probably going to get really hot in the northern hemisphere. So I think you guys, we're in for a cold winter. I think you're in for a hot summer. Yeah, it's always... I've never minded the heat, keeping it cool. I've always detested the humidity. I lived in Darwin for a couple of years, and that's real humid. And as I got older, I choose not to live in those tropical areas because it is draining. You know, even though you might sweat a little bit, it actually just takes everything out of you, and you're knackered. If you're working on a car, you throw the spanner down and think, bugger this, I'll wait till it gets cooler. But in most of Australia, it's hot during summer, no question about that. But it's been real cool. You know, like I say, near zero for the last 2 mornings. We don't normally get that sort of weather until about August. Yeah, just one of the secrets, Laura, if you're going to plant anything in containers, make sure it's about 18 inches deep. One of the biggest killers of the plants is the roots are too shallow. We've been doing some Milkway. We've been doing some of the videos and storing away different things, and then we'll do packages as we go. We'll show you some of the major things happening, but all the other bits, like we've done a lot inside this old cottage, but we're just going to put it together in a series of videos instead of doing it every day, like, oh look, there goes another brick. I'm not going to do that. So there's lots of peripherals to the building that we're not getting them to do. I'll be doing them. Painting inside, nice colonial architrave, putting them inside. You know, all the trimmings, a lot of the trimmings we're doing. Because, I mean, painting costs you a fortune. Paint a normal house in Australia, you're looking at about 10 grand. And I can do it for about 2. Loved our trip, keeping it cool. It was fantastic. Bit cool for the missus in some places, but it was fine for me. It was good. I got a little bit emotional, not too much, but a little bit of a near-on tear in my eye as I landed in Heathrow in the UK, because I left there exactly 50 years ago to come to Australia. So not really a homecoming. I wouldn't call it that to me, because my home is Australia. But I left there as a boy, and it was like, you know, geez, I'm back. We went to a lot of the areas where my family were thousands of years ago, literally. But some beautiful places we saw. Both my wife and I love architecture. I will tell you, whoever's here now, and I'm going to put a little video up after this, is that Mandy's on her channel. She had the Fandango camera. I just had this iPhone, so a lot of my videos weren't that good, and she does editing and adds a bit of music. So they'll start going up one tonight.
Yeah, your videos were fine. Don't make me out to be like a bloody Hollywood movie.
I'm selling the stuff here. They're cinematic.
You're probably going to get overwhelmed. I'll probably put 4 or 5 up tonight.
That's all right. I'll tell her.
It's like, I'm not in Hollywood. Yeah, it does take me a long time. I'm a bit OCD when it comes to doing editing. And if there's background noise on a video that's not necessary, or a load of crap, I take it out and I'll put music instead, because you don't want to hear a heap of people talking. Yes, I do have a channel, Ginger. Seeds will put...
I'm doing a video.
He's doing
after
a video.
This hangout.
He's selling it, yeah.
I'm not selling it. I'm sure people that have watched what I did.
Now make sure you do the thumbs up. You know,
don't
lots of thumbs up. And don't
forget. As soon as you get
forget,
to the channel, thumbs down, everyone.
don't forget the super chat.
Your videos are different because in context you put things in order.
I try
Like
to.
a lot of my videos I do, we went to 2 or 3 places in a day.
Yeah,
So I'd put like 2 or 3 videos up where you will have a continuum of the day, I guess, best you can.
best I can, because like doing these videos, I'm thinking, oh my God, we did so much in one day. It amazes me. Because I'm thinking, I've got these dates wrong, trying to put the dates with what I did, and of course it's on the picture or video. And I thought, oh no, well, that's what we did. Yeah, so I'll probably spam.
So, anyway, what I was saying was after this hangout, I will put a video with a link to your channel
Yes.
in the comments.
Yeah.
So if anyone, like I say, those that have followed what I did will get to see a different angle and perspective of what you do.
Yeah, because 99% of mine is done with that new camera I bought, which please excuse some of the blurriness in some bits because I'm still learning to use it. And then there was the odd thing I did take off your camera.
Yeah, I did that on purpose.
Yeah.
I just showed some video and some photos
Yeah.
because you were going to add them to yours. So I would have taken 200 or 300 photos that I never used in my
And
videos.
there's bits you'll see that you didn't see in Seeds because I filmed him.
And gradually during the tour, you would have seen me getting fatter and fatter.
Yeah.
Because we have breakfast every morning.
Yeah. And
which we don't normally do.
And then of course, don't let Mrs. Seeds fool you. She's film crew. Yeah. Yes, I've got a big film crew. If you want to join. And then, of course, there is some, at the very end, I will make a video up of bits and pieces because I have absolutely no idea where I took the video or the photo. Even though it's dated, and because sometimes we did 3 things, or tours or whatever in one day, I was just photos, videos, and I'm thinking, okay, I don't know where this one goes. So there's going to be like a random lot at the end of it all. I'll try and make it a bit fun.
I don't know how many people here have iPhones. I do. And my iPhone 7 is only a couple of years old. It's 256 gig. It's a big wing dingo, big top of the range at the time. Well, this morning I couldn't get a signal from my carrier, as in my mobile carrier. Not my Wi-Fi. My Wi-Fi was still working. We eventually figured out, after calling Apple, that it was something to do with resetting mobile settings, yes?
Yes.
There was a lot of mucking around, and now we've got it back. But Mandy was reading into it, but it's a bit of a common problem. So if you ever lose your connectivity to your mobile data, not your Wi-Fi, it's something to do with your settings in your iPhone to reset them. Anyway, probably no one's even got an iPhone, I'm talking to myself. But yeah, you'll get some good videos on her channel. It's called Mystic Angels, with 2 L's and an S. Mystic Angels. And I'll put a link in the description of the following video, which I'm about to put up after this hangout. And if you followed what I did, you'll get to see a much better production with what she's done, because she had the Fandangle camera.
Yeah, with blurry bits and shakiness because I didn't have the stabiliser on, and then actually the stabiliser doesn't...
She's making excuses
No,
now.
I'm not. I needed, what do you call them? What are those things?
Gimbal?
Gimbal. I need a gimbal. Although it's a heavy
Bennett
camera.
says, I have an iPhone, I hate it. Mine's good. It's just, I think it's too small for me, because sometimes I'm old. I'm looking thinking, I can hardly read that. And then you've got to do the old, make it bigger, you know what I mean? Pain in the ass. So if I get another iPhone, it'll be a bigger one. Hello, Scarlett.
Hi, Scarlett.
But, I mean, we use our phones for everything, don't we now? I'll look for products online on the phone. I'll contact people using the normal phone. Yeah, mine's the same, exactly the same. iPhone 7 256, that's what mine is. It's just too small for me.
Oh my God, the photo you took for the start of the live stream is horrible.
I caught you.
I look like a fish
She was
out
doing the washing, so I went, hello,
I
click.
look like a fish out of water.
Oh well. Yeah, it's like, if you know what I mean, Kevin, you're reading something and you've forever always got to make it bigger. And a mate of mine, actually JP, he's got a bit bigger iPhone. I'm thinking that's what I need to get. I don't even know what it was. I think might have been the same, but the bigger version. But we use them. We use our mobile phones all the time for data, keeping an eye on the scores in a particular match or something, or checking on the news. Something we couldn't do 15, 20 years ago, of course. But we can do it now. It's so damn expensive. I think, I could be wrong, but there's now going to be an iPhone 11 or something. And there's a whole range of different phones in the 10. What happened to 8 and 9? I didn't even hear about them. But one of the phones I looked at, it was an X. Who's this?
What are you doing?
I'll be getting one of them phone calls.
Hello?
Well, I'm calling you from legal. Hello. Yes, I'm calling you from Legal Assist, right?
Yeah, legal assist. Yeah, well, yeah.
I'm a barrister.
Legal Assist is the company name, and we have been notified that you had a motor vehicle accident in the past 2 years, which wasn't your fault. Is that true?
Oh my God, how did you know that? You know what? I don't even drive though. I don't have a driver's license.
I drive, but I'm a barrister. What company do you
Oh,
represent? I'd like to call them back.
God. Am I in trouble?
Hello?
Well, we are from Legal Assist. That is the name of the company.
Yeah, whereabouts are
And
you
we have been
based?
notified.
Whereabouts are you based?
We are based in Sydney. That is in George
All right.
Street.
I want you to give me the Sydney phone number to call during the day. I have colleagues, other barristers in Sydney. I think this is a bit of a scam myself.
We're actually doing. Oh damn! Did you have to make her hang up? I wanted to say something.
I'm not a barrister.
I wanted to say we had the legal team of Boita on the line, and she hung up.
You get all these calls, don't you? I had one of them earlier today.
Oh my God! I wanted to say we had the legal team of Boita live.
Yeah, she'll let it go a bit longer, but they bore me. They all try all different sorts of scams, don't they? It used to be, oh, you've got a problem with your computer? All you do, give me access. Yes. I used to, in the end, I'd listen to them and say, yeah, I've got that. Yeah, I've got that up. And I said, look, I've just got to go and do an errand for a while. Can I just give you my credit card details? Just in case I don't get back, and then you can just, charge whatever you like and then get the computer fixed. And they go, oh yeah, give me the number. And I go, it's, the digits are 1111. Have you got that? Yep. 1111. Yep. 1. And the code on the back is 111. I'll be back shortly. Or I used to do the trick saying, yeah, okay, mate, yeah, I'm interested in that. Hang on, I'll do a little tap on the table. Hello? Oh, excuse me, mate, I've just got to go and answer the front door. I'd leave the phone on and I'd go and sit and watch the footy for 2 hours. And every now and then you hear in the background, hello? Hello, are you there?
Oh, you give it to a 2-year-old.
Yeah, give it to my grandkids.
She should have let them go on a bit longer. Could have.
They'll try anything, won't they? They really will try anything to grab your cash. I think some of these people are the e-beggars on YouTube. This is their day job. Hello? I'm from an insurance company. Yeah.
Yeah, people have done that, Laura.
I'm sure you've all done the same thing. I bet Keepin's done this. You get these bogus calls and they just try and string you along. Look, and the sad part is some people fall for it, don't they? That's why there's millions and millions of dollars of good, honest, intended people thinking that they wanted to get their computer fixed and they realised their bank's been drained. Bastards. There's someone trying to scam you and all angles of life. Yeah, there are. There's plenty of videos where people do what I just did, but a bit better. I think she got scared a bit when I told her I was a barrister. She's thinking, oh shit. But there is always sometimes not obvious scam going on, but scams still the same. You know, one in Australia that went on for years were going to old people's place and saying, I can fix your roof, I can repaint it. And they say, how much? And they say, oh, only about 5 or 6 grand. So some people fell for it, and they get up there with a water hose and just wet everything. And after about 3 or 4 hours, they come down saying, job done. And they say, have a look. And they go, oh, that looks so much better. It's just wet. And then they drive away with all that money.
Oh yeah, we've had them keeping too.
What's that?
Keeping said they had one with about older warranty on his vehicle and is expired and stuff.
Yeah. I know you got them one day when they called you, and because she has an Apple computer and she has an Apple phone. And this guy said, I'm calling to fix up your computer. So she said, all right, I'll just turn my computer on.
Mind you, wanted to fix a Windows computer, yet I'm on
Yeah.
Apple.
Studebaker. Yeah, and you know, some of these ones that were from India, they were what they call in-betweeners. They would be the people cold calling and then pass you on to a scammer. Do you know what I mean? A lot of those people were probably just genuinely going to work thinking, I've just got to call people and pass it through to somebody, if you know what I mean. But when you get to the scammer side of things, and I've had them to told me to go and get effed and all that sort of thing. But, you know, it always seems to be the Eastern Bloc, India, and they'll always say, if they're calling Australia, we're calling from Sydney. And I had one guy, it was actually grand final week a couple of years ago, and he's calling up and a particular team won. And I said, you into the footy, mate? He said, oh, I love Australian rules footy. I said, yeah. Who do you follow? And he said something like Brisbane. I said, oh, cool. I said, you must have loved the grand final. And he went, oh, yeah, it was great. I said, who won? He said, oh, not sure. Who was it? Who was playing in there again? I said, but you love footy. And he went, oh, I can't remember. I said, it was Brisbane, your team. You're not from Australia, are you? Now, fuck off. If you ask them, like if someone called you in the United States and they say, oh, we're calling from Pittsburgh, and then you hit them with a few local questions and they just get lost. You say, you can trick them by saying, you know, Pittsburgh being so close to Florida, it's really hot during summer. Don't you agree? And they go, oh yeah, it's very hot, very hot. When in fact, you know, it's probably a couple of thousand miles between Florida and Pittsburgh. Yeah, you love that, don't you? You get the call. Hello, yes, my name is Michael, or Jeff. You say, no, it's not. And they go, yeah, it is. My name's Jeff. Nah, it's not Jeff. What do you mean it's not Jeff? I said, well, you're Indian. And he said, oh, my father Indian. I said, well, where are you calling from? He said, Sydney. I said, oh, whereabouts you live in Sydney? He said, in the big part of Sydney. And I'm thinking, there's 5 million people. So I said, what, in the middle of Sydney? Or little? He said, oh, in the middle of Sydney. I said, well, what are you doing? You know, tell her, Paul, if you live in the middle of Sydney, you must be a multi-millionaire. Hangs up. You could, I mean, you know when you get those calls anyway, like today I got one and it was something to do with like that, insurance. And I said, it's all right, I got the check, thanks very much. Unbelievable how they just will try anything. It'll be one scam and then another scam. I know the Russians are very good at it because they hack Australian banks a lot. Just as well, all of us haven't got that much to lose. So what's been happening in the Greater Boit? Has peace befallen? Are there unions of hugging and forgiveness? Is it like kumbaya time at the bottom of YouTube? Or are people accusing someone of doing something and then the other people are saying, well, you did it first and I hate you and you hate me, but next week I'll love you. It's going to be okay. My goodness, it's just Groundhog Day on the bottom of YouTube. It's Groundhog Day. Same shit, different day. Very few channels I go to now, I'll be honest. I got a few favourites. I go and watch certain things, but most of them I just don't go. And I know that the hours of my YouTube watch have gone rapidly down because I don't see anything interesting in watching people fight and accuse each other, and particularly most of these people have never met each other. If it was a brother and sister who have been fighting for the last 30 years in the real world, well, yeah, you can imagine that would be logic that they'll have a bit of a fight. But people who don't know each other accuse people of things that they're not sure, but they've got proof, but they haven't quite got to show you. The people who beg, I don't like people who beg at all. It's not as if I am not, in the past or in the future, not going to help where I can. I just don't like someone sticking a hand in my face saying that they are dying, they're desperate for money, I've got no money, and then you find out they have. So it's very sad. Like I say, there are genuine people. I could have, and I did not, take any video of hundreds and thousands of homeless people in Europe. It's very sad, very sad. I could have done walking around videos of poverty and how these people have got little children at night in the little doorways of shops and they've got blankets over them. Would I ever do that? No way. We gave what we thought those that were needed genuinely. Some things, a bit of money, but in the end you'd be broke if you try to help everybody. So you try to look for those in greatest need. Generally, the people we gave to didn't ask for anything. There's a bit of a message in that. You can generally see when people are struggling, and you can generally understand in the tone of their voice and how they talk. They never ask. They're the ones I give to. Not the ones that say, you need to give me money, because I'm full of self-importance and I'm a highly respected member of the bottom of YouTube, and so you should just empty your wallet and give me money. If anyone you see who directly or indirectly asks you for money, don't give them anything at all. It's Bully here. Bully, where's the videos of your car and your cooking? You're going to do some cooking. Show me your chili. Or you've just been a bit busy. Did you drive down to see your mate in the van, have a cup of tea with him or coffee? Buy him a burger? Bully? G'day, Ross. Yeah, Bully's a funny bugger. He's harmless.
Yes, my sweet pea's in the room, I see.
Yeah.
So what's happening, Bully? What are we showing you tonight, Bully? We showed you the house the other night. What would you like a tour of tonight?
Talk to your mate.
Huh? How you going, Ross? Or anyone else I've missed? So, where are you off to work, Bully? What are you going to do?
He's going to go and polish the B-class van for his mate.
You want to see the inside of the car? Oh my God. What the hell for? Oh, you want to see if it's clean or not. You want to see how tidy it is.
It's clean. Bully. Now, I showed you mine. You need to show me yours. You were going to do a chili video. You were just going to show me your car and show us your house.
And I'd do a live stream.
But you haven't done it. You were going to go live. Are you not a man of your word, Bully? Is that what you're saying? Is it? I know what it would be. You've got 15 iPads lying everywhere. You've got one in the toilet, you've got two in the actual kitchen, so you don't miss anything. They're all on at the same time. You must drain your internet daily. But no. Actually, you don't have to show me your car and you don't have to show me your house, bully. You don't have to do any of that.
No, but you can show me.
A man would. A man would stand up and go, yeah, well, I asked Mrs. C's to show the house, so I'll do it. You could even just cheat. Break into someone's nice house, bully, because you know your area pretty well. And you can break into someone's nice house and do a video. And as you're going through the room and you get to the very last room in the laundry, and there's a great big Alsatian. That'll make great video. Woo, 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 woo. It's not important, bully, what people have.
Sailing Sophisticated Lady. Is that the name of the channel keeping? Yeah, it is, yeah.
There is a channel that she's just come back, been away for a couple of years, and her name is Arky, A-R-K-Y, Off-Grid. Arky Off-Grid. And she truly is off-grid. If you get a chance to have a look at her videos, she's just started putting them back up again. Yeah, someone said that to me before, Laura, like everyone is more on the internet during winter in the US than they are in summer. It is. There's two things I've always believed, Ginger. It's not what a person says, it's what they do that counts for their character. Because people can talk till the cows come home. Now, I've got millions of dollars and I have a Rolls Royce. I've got 9 iPads. So, there is no relevance in that at all. Actions speak louder than words. Never a truer statement than that. And if your actions show you for your character, and then people sort of have a go at you because your character's not that good, you don't have a leg to stand on. You know what I mean? If you're shown to be a character of disrepute, well, you're showing it. People are taking notes. But I don't hate anyone online. There are some despicable people. I just avoid them. But there's loads of good people. That's the bit that none of you should miss, is that there are by far more good people than bad people. And you just need to discern between the two. But anyone that does this, say no. Particularly if they're able-bodied, not in a wheelchair, able-bodied, and just doing it tough. You know what my grandfather would say to anyone? He'd say, well, if you're doing it tough, there's some great lessons you're going to be learning. Yep, we know what it's like to look after the elderly. That's our job. Anyone that stands up and looks after grandparents or parents because they need that help, I can tell you, if it was you, I know you'd rather be home in an environment that you're used to than an institution. But, you know, some people don't give a rat's ass. Good on your mum being 94 for starters, Scarlett. That's a bit of a bonus. I'd take 94 right now if you offered it. We don't know how long we get, so make the best of it. It's too much, I don't know, it's, just going to put my toupee back in the right place.
Yep, see that, Bolly? He's changed toupees today for you.
It's, you know, there are some incredible women that are older, that don't look their age. We're certainly living in an age where somebody from my generation, I doubt it will be me, but somebody from my generation will live to be 120 or 30 easily. Because some of the... I remember when I was a kid, do you remember thinking this way? When someone was 40, you obviously needed to dig a hole and bury them, because that's just way too old. But there are people in fine fettle at 70 and 80, walking around, jogging, who look 35, 40. So the new 70 is the new 40, I think. But it depends whether you've been through a little bit of strife with your health and whatever. That'll determine how long you live. What we don't do, and I'm sure all of you will agree, we get to about the age of 30 or 35, and most of our thoughts are entrenched, our values, the way we think, the way we vote, the way we treat people. In other words, you've accumulated all the things of some other people, maybe friends, family that you liked, and you put it into part of your character. But I'm 60 and I think about 30 years of age. In other words, I don't think I'm 60. My mind is still fairly sharp, and I think that's the secret. I think that's how people get through their lives, is having consistency when you reach middle age, if you like, and you get your values, because values are important. Not my values, yours. In other words, the ones that you want to follow. They don't necessarily have to follow mine, but you know what I'm saying. You end up sort of saying, this is the mould of who I am. And you don't tolerate that type of thing, and you don't tolerate this, and you don't agree with that. And those things won't change. That's just the way it is. But I think whether you're religious or not, if you just simply treat people good, like you don't want to be abused and spat at yourself, and you certainly shouldn't do it to other people. But one thing that goes a very, very long way is a little bit of kindness every now and then. My wife does it all the time. I'll be walking with her, and then I'll turn around and talking to myself, and she's back there giving some old bloke in the corner $20 or buying him something to eat. I go, well, that's fine. But it's not like, it doesn't take, look, even when you see someone, you try this one time. You know, most cities are very impersonal. When you get a chance of someone slowing down, just say, "How you going, mate? All right?" Or, "Hello, how are you?" Most of the time they go, "What's he want? What's he doing?" But a lot of the time, you get a smile. "Hello." Or even just do that. As you walk, smile. You'd be surprised at how many people will smile you back. Yeah, we're home, Vinny. We've been home for a couple of weeks now. Yes, she does. She has a beautiful heart. Age is just what it is. It's just a figure. I think certainly some old people get grumpy, and I think they get grumpy for a couple of main reasons, and that is they can't do a lot of the things they could do. Vinny's a classic example. No, he's not old, but I'm sure there's a bit of resentment and anger within him because he can't run a mile and he can't climb ladders, and not that he will want to, but Vinny knows what I'm talking about. When you get incapacitated to a certain extent, it's taken away some of the things you could do. So you can, on occasions, be a bit grumpy. Hello, so you just called him Benny.
I didn't mean that, Vinny.
She's having a go at you, mate.
It's bloody auto check.
We never stop learning. I would consider myself quite competent in the garden. And lots of people that have seen my gardens over the years say, "Oh, you must be an expert gardener." No, I still make mistakes. You do. And the beauty about mistakes in the garden, if you've got a compost pile, pull the mistakes out quickly out of the garden, put them in the compost pile, and they still recontribute to the garden.
And how do you know that, Bully? Vinny, is there something you're not telling us? Bully says Vinny's in a wheelchair. My God, when did that happen, Vinny? I know he's not.
He had both legs removed, but he's not in a wheelchair. We just call him Stumpy. You can hear him coming. That'll be Vinny.
I liked your thingy at the airport, Vinny. We like doing stuff like that, watching the planes.
Yeah, we tried it down the park the other day, actually. But only saw a couple because they were landing the wrong way. And like every major airport in Australia, you'll go to one side thinking they're going to come land this side, and the buggers land the other side. So there's nothing wrong in getting grumpy or getting pissed off. Yeah, you'd have overhead cams. You'd probably have, I don't know, 15-inch, 20-inch wide tyres. a couple of handbrakes, so you can throw 360s. All right, Ginger, you have a good one.
See you,
Have a great
Ginger.
day.
Don't work too hard, Ginger.
But I played an incredible amount of sport when I was younger, up until I was 42 actually, and I don't resent not being able to do it anymore. I do miss the camaraderie that you had within certain groups and teams, and the friendships you had then, they really don't continue. Maybe one or two out of hundreds that you played sport with, because that's the nature of the beast. Fleetwood Mac summed it up really nicely. Players only love you when you're playing, which is just logic. People move on. But I've learned that there's always something new that you can do. Maybe you can get, let's say Vinny was in a wheelchair, which he's not, by the way, Bully. You don't have friend seats. I've got you, Bully. I
Yeah.
got you, Bully. I only have just you.
We don't need anyone else when we've just got you, Bully.
Bully.
Come on.
We've announcement tonight. I don't know if I've told most of you, but our 9th grandchild is due in about 4 or 5 months, 6 months maybe.
No,
So that'll be number
due-
9, and we've got 5 kids, Bully. So
He's due Christmas Day.
yeah, but we do have friends. But just imagine if we only had our 9 grandchildren and our 5 kids. That means the house is full anyway. I don't think we could name an after you, because I believe it's going to be a boy, and unlike you, Bully, I don't want him to wear a pink tutu.
Yes, that's right.
That's exclusively IRC Bully's brand. He's got a 9mm Glock, and he's got a pink tutu on. I want you all just to envision that right now. And Bully is only 3'6". So he look a bit like that guy that used to lean up to the big fella and say, "The plane, the plane." Pink tutu, 9mm. Well, I do know that you spend all day on here, Bully. Any time of the day that I do just click on to have a look, a bit of a gander, there's Bully. And normally he says no matter where he is, it could be in the macrame room.
Don't tell everyone we go watch
And,
macrame.
and Bully will say, "Give me a wrench." Is that insecurity or what? Everywhere you go, Bully, you ask for a wrench. Stand on your heels, mate, and pull your chest back and act like a man. You don't need a wrench everywhere you go. You really don't.
I think there's really bad lag.
Is there?
Mm.
Why? I'll ask you this again, Bully. Why would you need a wrench in here?
Oh, come on, sweet pea. You don't need a wrench
Have
in
you
here.
been? We haven't been booted because you're here. Have you been? What do they call it? Booted for 300 seconds or whatever it is.
No.
No, I don't think you have.
Put on the sidelines for 300 seconds. Yeah, I think JP did it to him once.
Yeah, JP probably did it for fun. But you're still here.
Now tell me, have you got a wrench in Vinny's room?
Well, actually, no, let me ask you this question, Bully. Have you banned anyone from your leader's room? Because I told you what's going to happen shortly, because he does it every 3 or 4 months anyway, Bully. You'll take your wrench.
And you do, yeah. I have to laugh, I do go past the
Yeah,
other
I'll
day.
do another trivia soon. It's mainly to do with questions like, who is the person who likes to talk about iPads and holds a Glock in his hand wearing a pink tutu? What's his name? Quiz like that. Yeah, no, it's actually tobacco. Marijuana's cheaper than tobacco in Australia. Ask Vinny.
Ross, Rosie, yep.
What's that?
Rosie. Ross answered your question and said Rosie.
What was the question?
Well, what you said, wears a pink tutu and a...
Well, yeah, but she's girly.
Exactly, he was talking about Bully.
So Bully must be a bit girlyish. I wonder if Bully's a cross-dresser. Or is he transgender?
Oh, don't start.
No, you can wear your pink tutu and not be either of those things, Bully. You can just be an individual. All right, you can just wear your pink tutu, hold your James Bond Glock up to your chin, and say to anyone, "You got something to say about my pink tutu?" Yeah. Actually, I forgot that you made me coffee. Thank you very much. hair's getting to the annoying stage. It's down the back of my neck, but it like wants to grow like that. I have a big afro. Wooly, have you got a picture of yourself with hair? I'm an old bloke. I've still got hair, mate. Used to like the trans channels. I don't even think of, Ross, I know what you're saying, and I understand where you're coming from, but I don't think of people as gay or lesbian or transgender or whatever they want to put a label on. I just think of them as themselves. And I got sick of a lot of their behaviour. To me, I mean, there are some people that transgender well, and there are some people that really don't. And they still carry particularly, you know, that aggressiveness of a male, and most of the time the voice of a male, and my perception is that they're male, even though they're wearing a pink tutu. Yeah, Laura, I mean, that's how I look at it. If I think, it's like I look at, I'll give you a good example. I look at Nicole as a girl. There are plenty that don't, you know, cross over well, and I'm not having to go on them for their efforts. But I think it's more than that, Scarlett. I think maybe in the end of my life that most of society will be androgynous. In other words, you walk down the street and think, I don't know whether that's a bloke or a girl.
Well, that happens
Or
now.
whether that's a girl or a bloke. But I mean in mass numbers. I mean, equality, women should always get paid the same as men. Same job, same pay. Women should be more in politics, obviously. The world is run by men still, and they like their men's clubs. You know what I mean? Slowly but surely that is changing. But it is becoming androgynous. I mean, you deleted him. You timed him out.
Yes, I did.
What did he do?
What he said about Nicole was like he was being stupid
Oh, if he's
again.
being nasty,
Yeah.
you get smacked on the arse when you're nasty, bully. And I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing, but I'd like to know the visual obvious, being obvious.
Johnny, I beat you to it.
There's Johnny here, is he?
Yeah, he just got in as I timed, put RC Bully in the corner for 300 seconds.
Yeah, there's no need to be nasty, mate. And if you continue to be offensive, we will boot you. You will be removed. And we'll talk about you all night.
Been pretty patient, let you go a lot, try and be nice. You come out with shit like that, you'll get timed out.
No, so it's not the gender that I appraise my view of someone. It's their behaviour. It's the way they treat others. So, you know, lots of people have a very high opinion of themselves. And there's nothing wrong with having self-esteem, don't get me wrong. But I don't presume to be better than any other person at all. We're all different. We all have little areas that we're good at. They're all different. But everyone has, and I believe that every name that I see, not just here but in other chats, I know there's a real person behind it. So I don't dismiss them at all. If they're a bit like Bully and get a bit nasty, yeah, I'll boot their ass. That'll happen. But it really boils down to if you treat people with respect and integrity, as Scarlett's saying, and if there's a bit of give and take, like I take the piss out of Scarlett and I'm just being funny, she needs to know that I'm doing that, not just out of the blue say something. When you get to know someone's character, and I'm likely to do that, by the way, Scarlett, you'll know that it was in jest and it wasn't meant to be mean or nasty. Like with JP, this is very common in Australia. If he walks into the property here, I'll say, "There you go, you old bastard, how are you?" And I'm certainly not having a go at him. That's a term of endearment, like, "G'day, mate, it's good to see you." We just use different words. But there's a lot of nasty people who spend all day wasting their time being nasty to other people they've never met. That's the bit I don't get. When people have never met but they're mortal enemies online, how does it figure? They're just characters playing a role. It's like there's a few plastic gangsters down the bottom of YouTube. I'm going to get you. I'm going to get you real bad. I'm going to call the police. I'm going to set your tyres on fire. I won't do it, but I'll get someone to do it. We're just plastic gangsters. No substance. And if the only reason you want to ring a bell and attract attention to a channel is to get numbers, what's the point? There's no point. You're not going to get long-lasting friendships by being a dickhead. You know, probably, if I said there was 1,000 people on the bottom of YouTube, I'd probably be about right. I'd be pretty close. And I reckon 950 of them are pretty good people. That's just 95%. The other 50, I don't care for. I don't yell and scream at them. I don't make videos about them. I don't go to their channels. But it's sort of the same thing I would do in real life. I'd meet the other 95% in real life. No problem. I'm not going to waste my time. I'm not going to cower down to someone threatening me. Good luck doing that. And I'm certainly not going to let people be abused where I can help. What, all the makeup? I haven't got any makeup on.
No,
What are you talking about?
no, other people. I was talking about when people wear a stack of makeup and like all the makeup.
I don't like a lot of makeup, to be honest,
No, it
on
doesn't
women.
suit you.
No, I mean on women I don't really like. See you later, Laura.
See you, Laura.
You can have more fun in real life with somebody for 20 minutes and then you can have online for 12 hours. Because all I see is people trying to, yeah, you got to create an illusion. Create a character that they're not, and this is the secret of life. Just be your damn self. Warts and all. If you're big and fat, or you're tiny skinny, you've got big glasses, you've got no hair, it doesn't matter. Just be yourself. And people will or won't accept you for who you are. And the sooner you find out people won't accept you, good. You don't have to waste your time. But there are so many superficial people that use the words, I love you, I don't even know you. You won't get that out of me, unless I've been a friend for a many long time. You'll get it. Or if you're one of my children or grandchildren, you'll get it. Or my wife, but not someone I've just met in 15 minutes. That's ridiculous. It's a very poor use of the word. No, I agree.
Yeah.
Hello, hairy Fanny.
Hello. I love you, Seeds. I love you all in the room. I just like stir you.
I thought I was going to sneeze. You know when you get that
Bless you.
and nothing comes? It's going to come out of the blue in a minute, you watch. Nothing wrong with a hairy Fanny. Some people have got to be nuns. Yeah, I don't have a community. I've just got a few people I talk to on YouTube. I find that aligning yourself, it's a bit like, I mean, don't take this wrong, Americans, but a lot of Americans are either Democratic or they're Republican, and they shall not pass. Mate, I mean, there are things on the left wing that the people from the Republican agree with and vice versa, and life is meant to be a little bit like that, and just, you know, you don't have to be so pragmatic about certain things. Yeah, it's for me, it's like if you're going to be the person that loves everyone, as sure as eggs, within a few days, most of them are going to hate you, and it unfolds that way all the time. I mean, I do, and I've flicked in on a few of the war going on between Lindy and Kat at the moment. I've watched a couple of things. Oh, Jesus Christ. They'll be back together being friends at the end of the year. They'll be on a yacht somewhere, sipping Boit champagne. And then the cycle will happen again. It's normally the same suspects. You know the movie, The Usual Suspects? It's a little like if it was a orchestrated playhouse of 30 or 40 characters, and they play a role, hate,
Drink your coffee.
fight, And then they change the script and it's like, love you more, I love you more. Come here, baby. Do you know what I mean? It's like the same playhouse with the same players playing different characters. And I'll be honest with you, it's very amateur. It's not that entertaining. And for some reason, you'll get this. I remember in Vinny's room sometimes there'd be nothing happening and then two women would start fighting and it'd go down from like 12 people to 200 because these two women are fighting, spitting and all these people come around.
Passion pop.
Passion pop, that's a killer, that is. The old passion pop, $3 a bottle.
Ross said, boy,
Oof.
champagne equals passion pop.
That's true. I know what he's talking about. That's terrible stuff. Most of these people, Scarlett and others here, that do the screaming and the yelling and the stomping of the feet and the threats, they all want just one thing: attention. I know people that used to drink that stuff, Johnny, and they'd get blotches on their face appear straight away. I'm not kidding you. The old passion pop, $3 a bottle, black currant flavoured, what they call this, nitroglycerine.
It wasn't black currant flavoured, was it?
Yeah, passion pop was sort of there was two, wasn't there? There were two guys. There was a passiony fruit one and there was a black currant one.
I don't remember the black currant one.
Cheap and nasty.
That's because you're older.
Ross used to get his legs opened. Oh yeah. Jungle Ram liquid, is it, Ross? We have a drink every now and then ourselves, not to excess. 3 or 4 beers, maybe in a whole afternoon with family, with food.
Oh, hear the cricket.
Yeah, one. Normally when you get one, the rest go off, don't they? It's quite warm tonight. Yeah, it's one of those that, you know, people will go up to the bottle shop and get the older guys to buy it for you. You know, sit around, drink your old passion pop, fizzy, nasty. Those were the days. Pretty sure there's many a skinny dip in events that have occurred through the consumption of passion pop.
Are you talking from experience?
I've skinny dip, but not through drinking passion pop. Yeah, normal drinks cost about $15 in those days, like a nice bottle of something. Well, passion pop was $3, so you get 5 bottles for the price of 1. Yes, I read your comment, JP. You will certainly be treated like a king. And even though that breakfast I said would look good, it didn't look that good, mate. Seriously. You'll get better here. Where can I buy passion pop and go on a date with Ross? You don't need to get passion pop, you go on a date with Ross. Actually, I'm going to make sure that I buy a bottle of passion pop. I'm sure they still make it. And in your room, in a little bar fridge, you'll be going, oh, look at that, darling. We've got some final plans of our extensions today. We've got a big pantry getting built to store all the passion pop in. And a few other things we finalise. So we should be commencing in about 3 or 4 weeks to build. It won't happen overnight, but it will happen. But 99 cents a bottle and it was 15 I got served at Those Wars. And actually, look, in the old days, seriously, when I was a kid, you didn't need to be 18 to go and buy any alcohol. Normally it was kids serving anyway, you know, like 17, 18-year-old. And you say, yeah, go and take that, away you go. Remember those little bottles you used to buy, like the half flask of scotch, whiskey, you name it, everything.
Going on a date with Ross, I just read that.
But used to get, used to be an old, I still like it to this day, is Stone's Green Ginger Wine. Because I used to take it fishing with me, but it's a good drop. I just have it on ice And there's another one which my mate used to drink, didn't like it very much. We used to sail a lot, and he'd always bring out this bottle of autumn brown sherry, like brake fluid, and it had a very similar taste. But he used to knock it back. He said, "Can you feel the cold?" I go, "No, but I'm not drinking any of that shit." But yeah, lots of things you do when you're younger. I used to love sailing. I used to race lasers. If anyone knows what a laser is, other than a pen pointed at an aeroplane, this was a yacht.
I think I'm older than Ross.
Oh yeah?
Well, in 1979 he was 15. I think I was 17 in 1979.
That makes him a 63-year-old.
Is that right?
No, I mean 63 he was born, something like that.
I'm not very good with maths. I might have worked it out wrong.
About the same age, I think. I was born in the 50s, in the middle of the
No.
turn of the last century.
Hey, I'm not friggin' 60-something.
I said I am.
Oh,
Women. Johnny's a child of 75. Do you know, Ross used to buy those packet of 10s,
I'm 55.
cigarettes, Rothmans, there was a few other brands. You remember this little tiny, they looked a bit like the thickness of a lighter. Used to get 10 cigarettes in them. I remember buying them for 8 cents a packet.
Am I 56? Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, a Viscount was one of them. But 8 cents a packet. Now they're over $1 a cigarette. Seed's sleeping on the couch tonight. No, he's not. Got a big comfy bed, reverse cycle, air conditioner.
Because I thought you said I was 60-something. You were talking about yourself, but you were born in 1859.
Yeah, I'm a little bit older. Interesting age, isn't it? It's not,
So,
real, it's not real. We just wish we had more of it.
RC Bully's 300 seconds should have been up. He obviously hasn't come back in. He's annoyed with me.
He's probably torn his tutu and spat in the corner. Shocked dog.
You're listening, RC Bully. You're welcome back, but keep your comments a bit nicer.
But it's a nice mild night tonight. The temperature is 16 degrees Celsius, which is 61 degrees Fahrenheit. Cool, but pleasant. Not like last night, it was bloody freezing. I think it was about 4 degrees when we went in, wasn't it?
Yeah. No, not before.
So what are you all doing this week? Anything interesting? Are you going fishing? Doing a bit of gardening? In the northern hemisphere the weather's good for a bit of gardening. Plant a few things. Maybe go on a holiday. They do say that during summer there's less people on YouTube. It's probably true. Things, you've got the sun shining. Gardening. I know you'll be doing that, Scarlett. You have to do a series of videos, Scarlett. You don't have to do them all at once. Just save them and bank them and then put them together, like
Wow.
some of the stuff you
Same
grow.
day, 22nd of November. That's my sister's birthday as well.
Yeah, Bully's going to another stream. He's in high demand.
He's going to another stream. Yeah, well, he's welcome back, but if he writes stupid comments, I'll time him out again.
I used to do videos, Scarlett, like I'd pick tomatoes, pick some chilies, pick some herbs, and then I'd go ahead and make some pasta sauce. You know, the process of growing, cooking it, storing it. Yeah, show your artwork. I mean, a lot of, down to 10%, about to die. But a lot of people do this stuff. A lot of people grow food and make their own sauces, pickles, cooking.
Johnny's got to go to a kid's birthday party. You can do those balloon animals, Johnny P.
But there's more value, I believe, in satisfaction, like when you grow your own food. I'm like a kid in a candy store when I'm picking out potatoes and garlic and tomatoes, and it's like I did this. I'm not yelling and screaming at anyone or telling anyone, but I feel good about doing it. That's what artwork's like. I do a little bit of artwork. I've never done it. Never had Facebook. I hate it. I'd struggle to do YouTube, Ross. The wife's got you a Facebook, haven't you?
Yeah, I've got Facebook. I have Facebook.
I mean, what put me off a lot of this years ago is when Twitter first started. My daughter was using it, and it'd be like she's saying, "I'm going to the shop," to a friend, and the friend would say, "Oh, what are you going to get?" It'd be like 50 text,
Actually,
and all it was is a bag of potatoes.
See, you've got a Facebook, you just don't use it.
No,
I don't use mine a lot either. I just have it to do messenger with the family, that's all mainly.
I have never got a cell phone yet. Yeah, a lot of people haven't. I know a lot of people don't have them. But it's, I suppose some of the things that, I mean, I remember my first mobile phone. It was about that big, I'm not kidding you. I used to put it down the side of my shorts, and the crack of my ass was always showing because it weighed about, I don't know, a kilo, about 2.5, 3 pounds, and it would last about 35 minutes. I used to use it when I was doing survey. But you don't need a mobile phone. We're so used, it's an appendage now. It's like part of our body. But it wasn't there before, so we know we can survive without it.
No, we can't. I'm with Johnny.
Yeah, you're just so used to having it.
I can do without it.
Well, if we get the big solar burst, everyone will be sitting there with the phone saying, "What's wrong with the bloody thing?" And then I'll have to turn around to the person and say, "Do you want to talk?" They'll go, in the sand, they'll go, ... lol. Let's start up with sand messages. Work up to speech. Ugh. I tell you, you'd noticed it too. You went round London, Johnny. You sit on the tube in London and earphones, mobiles to their faces. No one looks at anybody on the London Underground.
There wasn't a lot. It was too crowded to do anything.
Yeah, but they just like no one else exists. Just them and their phone. But next time you get a chance, sit on a cafe in a corner of one of your cities and just sit there. And every second person on their phone, probably just saying, "What are you getting at the shop?" "Potatoes." I say to my wife, just call your daughter, just phone her. It's like 15 texts and no real resolution of what the question was. And I go, "Hello, what do you want?" "Oh, I want some potatoes." "All right, we'll get them." But it starts off with, "What are you doing?" "Not much." "Will you be home this afternoon?" "Maybe." Just pick up the damn phone. Call. When I go out, I generally just leave my phone at home. Took it with me in Europe because I was doing some videos, but generally I leave home, I leave my phone. No need for it. Because my wife's always got hers.
Yep. Hey, VMAC.
Hello, VMAC. Yeah, I mean, it's other people's opinion that what is correct or not. Other people's views and values being forced upon you to change the way that you think. I come, and Scarlett comes, and Ross comes, and Mr. Angel comes from an area and era where things were said that weren't politically correct. Is that what someone just said?
Black Cat just came in the room.
Hello, Black Cat.
To watch the Euro Song Festival. Was it good, Black Cat?
I read on the news we come 8th or 9th or something. I don't even watch it, but Johnny P should enter the Eurovision Song Contest. He's got the body. He's got those abs. He sings. Not that well, but he does sing.
We won. Black Cat, where are you? Where's Black Cat again? They won.
Australia won.
Did we, what?
No, I don't think we won. I think we came 8th or 9th.
Black Cat watched the Eurosong Festival.
Thought someone from Sweden won it or something. I don't know.
And then Black Cat said we won.
Okay.
Did we win, Black Cat?
Netherlands. There we go.
Oh, Netherlands. That's right. Oh, okay. Yeah, Netherlands. Okay.
I mean, for me, it's a bit like we just talked about political correctness. But I mean, if it's politically correct, when someone in the southern hemisphere, in the land of deserts and kangaroos, to enter a Eurovision contest, it's in Europe. What's the go there?
What are you saying? What? Because what?
Well, I don't get how
we're allowed in it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a Eurovision contest.
Yeah, but it's not just Australians allowed in it. It's other people out of Euro that are in it.
You misunderstand me. We're not in Europe.
No.
What are we doing in the damn thing?
I don't know. That was years ago or something they allowed others in.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, there's horses for courses, and if it's politically correct for the Eurovision contest to be open to the world, just call it the World Contest. Yeah, I think it was 8th or 9th, I read, JP. But it's weird. Political correctness. It's other people's values, like I say. Saying to you, you can't say that anymore. I grew up with Ernie Dingo. Not many people here would know who I'm talking about, but he's an Aboriginal fella. Used to play sport with each other and against each other. And when we played sport against each other, he'd call me a white bastard and I call him a black prick. No time, and we always used to have a drink of beer after the games, at no time was there any racial connotations in that. Today, if they caught me and Ernie playing basketball against each other and he said white bastard and I said black prick, we'd both go for discrimination.
Yeah, you'd be in big trouble.
And it's like, but
See,
that's not
Scarlett.
See, Scarlett.
Oh, right, Scarlett. Oh, sorry, I read that wrong. Sorry,
yeah,
Scarlett.
no, I just think like there was no context. I grew up with Aborigines.
Sorry, Scarlett.
I don't see black or white, even though we would call each other that name. It was meant as an insult on the field, in a funny type of way. But it's like you can't say that. It's like if I go to America and you know, do you say African American? For me, they're just American. Do you see my point? Just because your skin's different colour than another fella, you're American. And Australians are Australians. We've got all different tones of Australian skin colour, but they're Australian. Yeah, I mean, that's ridiculous. I mean, I always say Merry Christmas to people, and I get people saying, actually, Seeds,
Happy holidays.
It's Happy Holidays.
No, it's not.
And I say, well, I've just got a message from Santa to you. Get fucked. It's Merry Christmas. And if it's not politically correct, I don't give a damn. I don't care. They try to take it down from some of the supermarkets here. Happy holidays.
I mean, people can say what they want. But just, I say Merry Christmas. If someone wants to say Happy Holiday to me, that's okay. But I will say Merry Christmas.
I've had Muslim people say to me, Merry Christmas. And they don't believe in Christmas, but they'll still say Merry Christmas. It's other people's opinions and values trying to weigh in on your values. And just stand up for yourself. You don't have to be racist at all. You can certainly say Merry Christmas or Happy Easter. Doesn't really bother me. But it's like I say, it's gone a bit silly. You know, you can't say certain things based not only on race now, but on creed, on countries. Yeah, we have to, Scarlett, basically do the old model. Agree to disagree.
If we were all the same,
walk away.
If we were all the same, it'd be so boring.
If I had Ernie Dingo sitting next to me now, he'd lean forward and said, "You're still a white bastard." And we both get a laugh out of it. That's the difference. Yeah, Scotsmen, they're not that tight. Yeah, I agree with you, Ross. We have a fairly high tolerance. We give people enough rope and then we hang you. Let's put you over to Studio 1 where the producer is.
The producer. I'm not a producer.
Oh yeah. Oh, you better fix up your camera. I'm busy.
What do I mean camera? It's your phone.
I'll fix it.
I
You
did.
want me to do it all the time?
Yeah.
It's not politically correct.
Yeah, different cultures can be interesting actually. Learning how other people live and what they believe and do. I think it's interesting anyway. You can have a discussion about it without people getting offended or whatever.
You're not looking at the camera.
Because I can't read the chat. Scarlett set up ironing boards and sat on the floor to eat like the Japanese. That's different. Mac and cheese. What?
Yeah, we don't have a lot of mac and cheese in Australia, do we?
No, well, I don't really like mac and cheese, to be honest.
We do fry food, but not all the time. We don't do a lot of frying either as a general rule. We'll cook.
Oh, well, fish and chip shops, yeah, you have chips in that. Chips. Yeah, we don't, oh no, Australia did start doing fried Mars bars or something, or whatever it was.
They didn't last too long.
Hey SV, yes, home sweet home. That's a good song, Sweet Home. I can't sing, by the way. Sweet Home, Alabama. Go and sing it. Sweet Home, Alabama.
On the road again.
Yep, yeah. I've tried all sorts. Homemade mac and cheese, bought mac and cheese, restaurant mac and cheese. I'm just not that keen on it. I love cheese, but...
It's just a bowl of cholesterol, let's be honest.
And I love pasta.
We like lasagna.
And I do like putting grated cheese on spaghetti bog and stuff. So you're back from camping, VMAC. Try mac and cheese. Oh, I don't like lobster. Scarlett said, try mac and cheese with lobster.
A mac and cheese mornay, by the sounds of it.
Johnny P, you've never had mac and cheese?
I've tried it, I don't like it.
Well, you need to do a video and try it.
No, you don't, Johnny.
Yes, you do.
No.
Yeah.
Grab a pie, mate. It's fallen over. I think Johnny saw that video I did the other day about
I'm still at the cabin. Sorry.
cooking up these potatoes. What I do, I parboil heaps of potatoes. So they're cooked, but they're still al dente, you know, they're cooked. So you could eat them, but they're not falling apart. Then I put a heap in the fridge. The next morning I might just get a few and slice them into rings, you know, about 1/2 inch. Put a bit of olive oil and butter in the pan. They come up so crispy. They're beautiful. Or you can turn some of those cooked potatoes in the fridge into a potato salad. So it's like organising sort of several types of meals ahead. Or you could mash them up and put them on top of a, you know, like a shepherd's pie. Hello, Awesome. But potatoes are a wonderful thing. They don't always have to come in the form of a chip. Poutine. Yeah, I know a lot of Canadians love that. Oh, you got to put bacon fat. We use real butter. I'll put fat in the pan when I'm making a stew. I mean, margarine's not real, to be honest. Butter is. You get a cow and you milk its tits. Yeah, get a bucket full of milk and there's cream on top. Take the cream out, churn it.
We haven't killed any more plants, have you, Awesome?
Oh dear. I know what I'm buying Awesome Hooker for Christmas.
What?
It'll be plastic tomato bushes, plastic carrots. You just look out in the garden and it's like, geez, they're doing well. Yeah, the NBN is not what it's cut out to be.
Who are you with, Ross?
Doesn't seem to matter who you're with, the NBN is the culprit.
Yeah, well...
I'll actually, when I finish doing the extensions, it'll be a while, Awesome. I'm going to have some raised garden beds, and I'm going to have one in the corner called
Awesome Hooker.
the Awesome Hooker Garden Bed. Everything in there I'll dedicate to you. Probably a bit spicy. I'll grow some chilies, and capsicum, some brandywine tomatoes, some garlic, and I can do little videos just for you, private, you know. No one else can see them. Actually, I'm a good gardener, Harry, believe it or not. I've been growing food before you were born, boy. I have to grow cucumbers because the missus likes cucumber, but I use cucumber to make bread and butter pickles. I love it. No, it'll be a garden, dedicated. Awesome Hooker garden. Little plaque. And then we'll have the JP garden, which is just huge big melons, you know, phallic symbols. It's just second nature to me. Gardening is like having little kids. You've got to look after them. I've got a video on my channel somewhere. It's called Bread and Butter Pickles. It's a lengthy process, but man,
with cheese and cold...
tastes fantastic.
What do you call it? Cold meat.
We had to move over east, as you know, last year to help Mum. But I'd made a massive couple of big jars of this stuff and I hadn't finished it, so my daughter-in-law got it. She ate it within a couple of days.
Yeah, I love the sour ones with the dill sour pickles. Yum.
I like pickled onions. Pickled anything, really. Yeah, I mean the old pickles and the old burgers when what you call Burger King, Hungry Jack started here in the early 70s, they used to use bread and butter pickles in their burgers. Not just normal pickles, but bread and butter pickles. And there'd be a couple of big, you know, knobs of it. Baby carrots are nice. Things that aren't worth growing in your garden. Now I don't mean this as a detriment, but at the moment it's not worth growing potatoes or carrots or root vegetables in general, except probably parsnips because they're bloody expensive, because they're so cheap to buy. I can buy 10 kilos of potatoes for about $3, 25 pound. I would need 3 rows 15 foot long to get that many potatoes, and tons of water, well over $3 and growing them. But you should grow the expensive things like garlic, chilies, tomatoes. Tomatoes in Australia aren't like my tomatoes, they're just the supermarket version. They can go up to $14, $15 a kilo. So you grow the stuff that costs a lot of money that you like. I love chilies. I grow tons of chilies. Yeah, herb garden's great. Like I say, I'll have about 11 or 12 herbs just outside big bay window here. Our kitchen's going to be about here, isn't it, roughly? About here. So it'll be straight out of the garden onto the chopping board using fresh. You don't need a lot. It's like, oh, parsnips are expensive here.
Oh yeah.
I think they're $8, $7 a kilo. But the thing about herbs, you can dry them, and I dry a lot of herbs, like oregano and oregano, you guys call it, parsleys, but fresh. It's like if you've got a big parsley bush. You've all seen them, right? Big parsley bush. What should you do? You cut the bastard right down near the bottom. Be real meat. Because as soon as you take it off, you don't use the stalks, but you take the end bits off. As soon as you do that, the plant goes, oh, you little ripper. Starts growing again. It's one of the plants you can really hack into is parsley. Don't be frightened. Cut right down near the bottom and it'll reward you. And thyme, when it grows, got a beautiful smell. There's quite a few good herbs in the garden that smell really nice. I've grown the curly. I go in between. It's called like a curly Italian. There's about 80 varieties of parsley, believe it or not. We all know the Italian parsley. We know the triple curl parsley, which is really curly, and the in-between, what they call curly. But I have the one that I grow is like an Italian, but a little bit curly. And it's got a nice, you know, if you scale it, some parsleys are very strong. That's the one I like. It's good for you. But I always grow oregano, thyme. I love thyme. I love the smell of thyme. When you get fresh thyme, and oh, beautiful. And of course, you can virtually have in a little space, and in amongst a few chili bushes to add to it, but you can make your own Italian seasoning, herbs if you like. There's about 7 types of herbs that go into Italian seasoning. You know, the stuff you put in your spaghetti bowl. You can get it fresh. But dried herbs are way more powerful than fresh ones. So if I had a handful of fresh parsley, I could put that straight into something. If I had a handful of dried parsley, I'd only put it in a teaspoon. Because it's reduced, all the concentrates are dried and they get released as soon as you put them in. Never like cilantro as a rule. Chives I do, garlic. I have garlic chives, garlic. It's only illegal if you get caught. Not sure what that was about. Sage, I love sage.
Because you said he grows Mary Jane.
You don't get into trouble in Australia growing that.
Oh, you do if you grow too much.
Yeah, they don't like you growing half a backyard full of it, but mince, you've got to contain them, Scarlett. You know what I'm talking about. Mince, put it in a big container, because if it gets loose in your garden, like sweet potatoes, don't plant sweet potatoes in an open bed, because you'll just have for the next 300 years sweet potatoes coming up. They're the two that I'm always worried about, is mint, and there's all types of mints. There's a beautiful Vietnamese mint that's really good in cooking. There's many types of mints, but it's very invasive. And sweet potatoes, grow them in a bloody container, because the buggers, you'll still get a good harvest, but they send out those little tendrils. About 2 years from now, you'll be looking in the corner saying, what's that? Sweet potato, starting to grow. We still get it here. It's grown in the southwest here, the white one. It does taste different than the fleshy, pinky coloured one. But there's another one called Yukon. There's hundreds of different yams. New Guinea's got masses, varieties of yams. I'll tell you what is really nice is it's the wild garlic that grows on the banks of rivers. And I can get that. I've grown that. Yep. A lot of the Asian herbs are very similar, but they're more pungent, if you know what I mean. They are far more. Bale gardening. I've done it myself. I grew spuds in bales once. Worked out good. But because I'll be having raised garden beds, and I'll have about 4 or 5 of them, and each season I'll rotate. You've got to do that. If you're growing tomatoes in this container, well, in about 5 years' time, you can grow it back in that container. But as soon as you got, like, you follow things with brassicas, and then you follow them with root veggies, then you follow them with, like, beans. beans and peas are the stuff that puts the energy back into your soil. Because whenever you've finished harvesting your beans, you just chop up the plants and dig it into the soil because there's so much nitrogen, and they produce little natural nodules. You pull up a root of a bean or a pea after it's finished harvesting, you pull it up, you see these little white nodules. It's literally nitrogen that it's putting back in the soil. So whenever you deplete the energy out of one garden bed, you do rotation. Go online, you can see for different areas of the world, there's different times that you rotate. So I'm not going to tell you what and where, but if you've got 5 garden beds, you can grow the same thing each year, but in a different bed this year and a different bed next year. And a little trick with container growing for melons and pumpkins, you just plant them on the edge, around the edge, and they grow over, and they sprawl out everywhere and produce big watermelons. But they're being fed from the garden bed. So there's so much you can grow, even in a small garden. But the experts will tell you all sorts of things, but I'll tell you, just grow what you want to eat, not stuff you don't eat. If you don't rotate, you'll get diseases that don't really kill the next crop, but what it does, it makes it weaker. It's ineffective. You end up with, like, sometimes nematodes, pain in the ass. Some plants will produce too much eelworm. The bugs are okay, and here's the little trick I do, Scarlett. You know jam jar lids, right? Well, I just get little stakes, little garden stakes about 2 feet out of the ground, so it's about a 3-foot stake, knock it down. Then I knock a jam jar lid on a nail on top of that, and I put a mixture of dried breadcrumbs and coconut, desiccated coconut, just in the top of the lid, and all the little birds come down below the plants and they eat that, and they look up and say, oh, bug. It gets rid of your pesticides by using birds. Jam jar lid on a little stake, mixture of dried breadcrumbs and desiccated coconut. Little finches love it, little willy wagtails love it here, and then they look up underneath the leaves of the plant. Oh, bug, worm, bonus. So I've done that a lot of my life. That was one of my tricks of my grandfather. I always wondered what the hell he was doing. What are you feeding the birds for? He'd say, you'll see. And they'd be bouncing around the bottom because they knock it off the top of the tin and it falls on the ground, so they go on the ground. Sure as eggs, they look up and there's a worm. Oh, look, particularly finches. If you get 30 or 40 finches come in your garden in 10 minutes, there ain't no bugs left in there. They're all gone. We get the little olive, I mean, as big as what I'm showing you. That's how big the finches are here. Probably about 2.5 inches long, and they're called olive finch, the one we get.
Oh, I'm not sure.
We've got all different types of finches, but the little olive one, they fly around like bloody bees,
We call
fast.
them green-eyed finch, but they
Yeah.
do have another name.
You can get like 100 land. And you can see all the leaves on the tomatoes and the brassica are all shaking. And they're not destroying your plants at all, they're just eating the bugs. Johnny P's always attracted the birds.
Yeah, Johnny P, we're talking with feathers, you know?
And
The
some of them are women. But it's good to do your own stuff sometimes. If you're a bit of an artist, that's very creative. Now, you may not believe me, but gardening's very creative. It is. It's an art form, if you like.
What do you grow? JP's asking, what do you grow in the cooler months?
Heaps of things to grow in the cooler months. Just think about the veggies that you can see in the cooler months.
What is it? Root
vegetables.
Yeah.
Plenty of herbs. Herbs love this stuff in Australia. Your fruit trees will be starting to fire up shortly.
Oh, by the way, I do the weeding because everything I plant or grow, I kill.
I'll let her explain.
I'm just not very good at it. If it grows, it grows, but most times it doesn't. I'm great at weeding. Yes, very good at weeding.
How much weeding going to be done around here?
I grew some, we got, because my favourite colour is purple. When we first started the seed business, I remember seeds got purple carrots in. I thought, oh my God, that's mine. I'm growing them. They're going to be mine. Well, I managed to grow bonsai carrots. I started a new breed. Well, when it's 20 below, I suppose not a lot will grow.
No.
Yep, bonsais, yep. They just did nothing. I started a whole new thing. I'm already growing strawberries. Always, from the time my kids were little, old enough to understand,
with the
I
amount of
grew
grandkids
strawberries.
that we rarely see any strawberries. They go out what we call candy.
Yeah.
Just gobble them all down.
Yeah, Ross says cool weather here's 100, it's 10 degrees. That's cold for me, 10 degrees. 10 Celsius is, I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit.
50 something, I think.
50 something, yeah. Yeah, it's a bit cold, so I'm not the gardener in the family. That's seeds department. I help keep it weed free, clean up.
I'm remembering this when I say weeding needs to be done.
If I'm in the mood, I'll do it. If not,
Oh, it's one of the if I'm in the mood thing.
yeah.
Probably a couple of years,
Hey, Chamo. Say hello, Chamo.
Hello, Chamo, my northern friend.
See you, Scarlett. Have a good day. Oh, don't talk about Scarlett. She'll be listening in the background. Just kidding, Scarlett.
So awesome. What's the plans for you today? What have you got on your agenda? Bit of cooking, bit of cleaning. Got kangaroo testicles.
You can buy kangaroo testicle money pouch things.
Yeah, you can. Saw the video of JP's today. He's a little bit out in the bush, but he had a couple of kangaroos sitting in the backyard. Kangaroos are everywhere. We've got millions of them, and they taste mighty fine.
So there's a heap of kangaroos hopping around without testicles, JP, because of you.
Yeah, we've got so much. Honestly, if the will come to shit, we've got so much food in my country, between the oceans covering everywhere, and the kangaroos and the goats and the wild pigs. We're not going to go hungry here, JP.
I don't like kangaroo black cat. It's a very acquired taste. It does not taste like chicken. It is very, very strong, and it's very, very lean, and you do have to cook it correctly.
Just chuck it on the fire. Eat the cooked bits. Morning in 2 hours here. What is it, 10 p.m. then, is it? Do you take PayPal?
It's going to send for those kangaroo testicles.
We actually do have them. They make little purses out of them.
Yeah, they do. They make change pockets out of it.
No, not really. Look, if you've eaten deer...
No, it's not even like
no,
deer.
No, let me understand. If you've eaten deer, it's similar. But most people that eat kangaroo, the Aboriginals tend to just like the kangaroo tail, because it's got fatty bits in there, because most of the kangaroo is very lean. But when you cut the tail up into big chunks, it's got a lot of fat in there, so it's got a bit of extra flavour. But it's very lean. If you get normal kangaroo meat, put it on skewers, do it on the barbie, maybe marinate it in something before, you wouldn't know it was kangaroo.
You know what? It's not.
Yep, I've shot plenty of kangaroos. I used to help a bloke. He had a 50,000 cull licence. We take turns shooting them. Now people might think that's cruel, but it's not, because if we didn't cull the kangaroos each year, many would die. In other words, there's only so much food and so much moisture in Australia, and the kangaroos breed literally like rabbits. We've got what they call a national consensus each year of about 65 million. And what they do is they cull 10%. All around Australia, shooters have got licence and quotas. Now all the meat is used, it's not thrown away. They use the meat for dog food, human consumption, they export it. But if they didn't cull, many more would die and they'd get disease. So that's why it's done. It's not done, if I swear to you, if kangaroos were endangered species, not one Australian would shoot them. But they're not endangered. They just multiply unbelievably. But like I say, on the good hand, come the Holocaust, we are going to live quite well on kangaroo meat, fish, pigs, goats, you name it. All we need is a bit of curry powder and we'll be fine.
I mean, I'm just comparing it as in, like Vegemite, you either like it or you don't. Kangaroo meat, you either like it or you don't. Yeah, awesome, multitasking.
There's nothing like, VMAC was saying, it's looking over water. Living by water is what I've always done. I just love the idea of a river or an ocean. And it's not that I'm adverse to going out bush, I just want to live near water. I think it's sort of an element that as humans we're drawn to. Yeah, kangaroos can be quite nasty. I mean, I love it when people say, oh, they're so cute. And then they go and pet it, and the kangaroo grabs them by the collar and puts their back foot up.
Hey Mary, 5 a.m. What are you doing up so early?
Something very special about looking over water. It's very pacifying, relaxing, until the tidal wave comes.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, there you go. But it is a very pleasant evening. All right, let's do the challenge. What are people doing this week that's special? Is there something special that you're doing this week? I don't mean like flying to France or anything like that. But if you've got a little project on, or you're going out to do something, or you're going to a show.
Yeah, JP's making balloon animals at a kid's birthday party.
Is he?
Yeah.
Right. Any good at giraffes? I reckon you all should look forward to doing something each week. Rheumatoid doctor? Yeah, well that's always fun, Ross, as he makes you squeal as he bends your joints. I didn't catch that second one.
Which one?
I read what Ross read, but someone else.
Mary, what Mary wrote. I haven't been to sleep yet because I said, what's doing up so early? But she was listening and then heard about the kangaroos and came in.
I'll tell you what we did see, JP, is quite a few hens night in Stuttgart in particular. Very funny.
No, England.
No, it was Stuttgart.
Yeah, but more in England, remember? Because they just go all and they dress.
There's nothing like a dozen drunk women roaming the streets to cause havoc.
Wearing next to nothing. That was in England.
Yep, butterflies like that. Actually, butterflies like what they're like. They call it sugar water. You just get a teaspoon of sugar and you put it into a tiny container of hot water, and then you just get a brush and paint it on rails apparently, and butterflies like that, if they're around, get the nectar. Yes, you'll be looking forward to putting in a crop shortly, I imagine, Shamo. There's another gardener. Should get some video of Shamo, just some of the crops he does. He has a limited amount of time. But things do grow fast in Canada. I've got a friend even further north, and even though he seems to start late, my jingo, they move on quickly during the season.
Oh, VMAX having a go at Awesome, in fun. Poor Awesome. Awesome, I'm with you. I
Well-
kill everything. Well, not everything. Plants.
There's a few gardeners in the room, and they'll agree with me. People who are just learning to grow things do one fatal mistake most of the time, and that is overwater. I know it sounds a bit strange, but you'll kill seedlings a lot quicker by flooding them than by just keeping them damp.
A question because of culling rabbits, and do kangaroos go through the same process like rabbits? Do a 7-year deal? No.
No.
Kangaroos are different in
Yeah.
that way than rabbits.
Kangaroos are a little bit like lions in one respect. You'll have a big buck who'll be banging away about 60 or 70 does. So you'll have 60 or 70 kangaroos that season, and then 60 or 70 the next.
I mean,
And then all of a sudden it becomes uncontrollable.
we've got an abundance of kangaroos, but what kangaroos will do, they don't breed if there isn't food or water to sustain the babies, and they will hold the joeys in the pouch until the time that they can.
Yeah, but
am I
you only-
explaining it right?
Yeah, you are,
Yeah.
but I mean, the problem is if we have 2 seasons of drought, out of those 65 million, probably 30 million would die. That's why we cull. No other reason. Yeah, we got another friend up in Canada who said she had snow last week, or the week before, didn't she say?
Yeah.
And it also, no, I'm thinking of Irish, where she woke up to minus 15 or something in Sweden, remember?
That's awesome. Plant.
Just seeing your plants, awesome. Can I have a quick look?
Poor fat as.
Well, one of them's been eaten by something and the other is overwatered. Awesome. Best way to test if there's moisture in your soil is to stick your bloody finger in there and come out. It should just be damp, not wet, and soil shouldn't stick to your finger. So give it the finger. But honestly, that's what most people make their mistakes, is by overwatering seedlings. You've just got to keep them damp. Have a little sprayer. You don't need them flooded. It kills them. And a bit of sunlight doesn't hurt. Awesome. I had many people that used to say, oh, I can't get these seedlings going. I said, well, where are you growing them? So in the lounge. Did you give them any sunlight? Oh, it's light in there. And plants will grow just with light, by the way. They will. But generally for a healthy plant, you need 5 to 7 hours of sunlight a day. Doesn't say much, does it? 5 or 7? It's enough though. One of my favourites in the garden, without doubt, is growing your own watermelon. Nothing like fresh watermelon. Seriously, just get the axe, cut it into chunks. I used to sit on the veranda with my kids. I had a big old fridge. I'd put them in there for an hour or two. Then I'd put them on the veranda. It'd be like... I think her cat must have got that one, by the sounds of that. But yeah. Chucking it across the street. Hello, David. Yeah, but seriously, I mean, even if you think you're not that good a gardener, just awesome, I'll be honest with you, just grow some herbs. They're pretty much fail-safe. Just buy them from the nursery about this high and whack them in pots. You'll be fine. It's there's always going to be failures in the garden when you first start off, and then you get good at it. I've got to go for a tinkle, and there'll be no live coverage of that. It's only a small screen. They go in charge.
Are you leaving me in charge?
I've got to go and take a whiz.
But I have to read the comments on here because I'm having, it's not letting me type in the chat, I want to say. Oh, okay, so awesome, you're there. apparently Nicole is having problems. She can't, internet problems, but says she's trying to type in the chat. I don't know how to help her though. Sorry, I'm just trying to help. Rosemary grow well. Oh, thanks, Camo. Yeah, I always say I'm the cute one, he's the tall one. Yes, yeah, Nicole's trying to type, or she thinks she's having internet problems because, you know, apart from RC Bully, I time him out, but we don't block or anything, but she's obviously got problems and her text isn't showing, isn't coming up.
What she's typing in the room.
Quick sees he's gone, let's talk behind his back. Okay, Milky.
Go for it.
Damn, he's back. Jolly P heard you pissing.
Well, it's very hard to put a silencer on it.
Oh, hey David, didn't see you there. Anyone that came in, sorry. Well, it must be Nicole's end.
I might even encourage those potential gardeners this year by awarding a prize. I'll do a separate video, and I might organise a prize for the overall season of growing stuff. Do you know what I mean? Could be like photographs or little videos, and I'll organise a prize. It's encouragement. Doesn't matter if you fail in the garden. There's nothing wrong with failing. It's a learning process. Even I have failures in the garden. Sometimes I go, how did that happen? You just don't know. Shit happens. I already suggested that, Dave. Herbs, Hooker. Promise me you were going to get some parsley, some thyme, basil, and just have a few pot plants. And don't overwater them. Don't overfeed them. Herbs don't need a lot of food, believe it or not. I used to grow Atlantic VMAC, you know what I'm talking about, Atlantic pumpkins. I used to supply many people in Australia for their competitions. And Pop's on my side. Rosemary's nice. I don't use a lot of rosemary, but it is nice. It's good bush actually. It attracts, particularly with its little flowers.
Awesome, I believe in you. You can do it. If I can grow bonsai carrots, you can do anything.
Just grow the herbs you use. If it just happens to be oregano, parsley, basil, chives. Chives are always pretty fail self. Yeah, it's the time of the year, Dave. I think everyone sort of goes on little adventures, warming weather. But I'll do that. I actually might pick just one particular thing. I'm not going to give it away at the moment, but it could be chili plants or tomato, something like that. I might make a specific contest.
So what are you doing?
Might run a contest for the season.
Yeah, for what?
For someone that can show near harvest their plants, and they might make something out of it. I don't know, sauce but I might do a little prize.
I say from start to finish, so they go grow them.
Yeah, I might just make it a specific plant. Could be tomatoes. I mean, tomatoes are universal. I've had tomato bushes growing cracks in the concrete. They're very versatile.
Milky Way. Anything she thinks she can't go wrong with. Plastic plants and ready-to-heat meals.
Don't like those TV dinners. Awful. All right, let's test everybody. I know it's morning time, mostly where you guys are, but what did you cook for dinner? I'm curious. I made bacon, potato and leek soup with some light crusty bread.
Yeah, well, we
Yum.
made it the other day.
Yeah, but that's what I had. What did you make for dinner? Or was it a TV dinner? Yep, Dave has herb plants that he smokes. Bangers and veg, that sounds like a meal. Veal parmesan, that sounds awesome. Courtesy of the wife. Bangers and mash.
Potatoes, beans, meat and gravy, like Cat had.
I couldn't cook anything or even eat. Oh, so you're not feeling too good, I guess, Mary. Yum.
Well, it sounds
Like,
nice.
sounds
awesome.
like parmesan was the go tonight. Just under the grill to finish her off. Awesome, was it? Just layer it on under the grill. You know, there's one thing, I mean, I don't do it as much as I used to, but there's one thing I don't see a lot of on YouTube, is people going down the ocean or the river fishing. You know, just deck chair or even on the grass, fishing line out. I don't see that anymore. No one seems to want to go and catch a fish.
A chicken wrap and 2 oranges.
Sounds good.
Remix. Lobster cooked in seawater. I don't like lobster.
Yeah, that's certainly going to enhance the chicken flavour, I think, JP. We like salads during all times of the year, but during summer. But you guys don't eat one of the main ingredients we have in our salad, and that's beetroot.
Oh, yum.
Pickled beetroot, you know, in slices or just whole beets pickled. Americans have an aversion to beetroot. I don't know why.
And
We love
you
it.
can't really get it over there, can you?
I'm sure they do, but it's not like how we have it here. Everyone has beetroot in their salad here. You can get it even where they cut them into little squares. I have to go and have a look, David. But you know what I mean, hardly anyone does any videos about going down the river and fishing.
Oh, I love fettuccine.
You can beat an egg, but you can't beat a root. Very Aussie
Hey,
there.
Nicole, you made it.
Hey, Nicole.
On your neighbour's Wi-Fi.
Where you been, mate?
You thief.
She's still in neighbour's Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
She's standing out the window, one leg in. Beets.
So-
Well, we call them beetroot. They're purple. There you go. You can get stripy ones if you like too.
So, what was the problem, Nicole?
Yeah, the chiogga's the stripy one, scarlet. But it's like, I mean, it's just Americans have an aversion to pickled beet. But they eat all sorts of pickles, Americans, but pickled beet is not one of the big ones. They don't go near it. Some people do. I've spoke to a few Americans that do have it. Don't you have a mobile data on your phone that you can tether, Nicole? You know how you tether it to the computer?
She's good. Her internet's been coming and going, and now she's got no internet.
Yeah, the tops are good for you. A lot of people don't know that.
Well, when they're young.
Definitely don't eat carrot tops.
No,
But beetroot, actually, if you're clever
you do it
and
when
you've
they're
got
young.
really good soil and you're growing beets, you can pick the little leaves off the beetroot as it's growing. Just leave enough on there, if you know what I mean. They go well in a salad. It's like anything to do with allium. Oh, yeah, I'm drifting off into Latin. Anything to do with onion-based plants like garlic or onions or leeks. You can eat everything. Except the leek, as it gets a bit older, the leaves get a bit woody up the top. That's why I don't use them in the soup. But any of the allium family, you can eat all of it from root to top. And never eat, ever, ever, never eat. Am I getting the never bit with you at the moment? rhubarb leaves.
Oh my God, no.
Never eat rhubarb leaves.
No.
You can use rhubarb leaves by stewing them in hot water as a pesticide, but if you eat rhubarb leaves, we're going to bury you. Serious. Don't eat rhubarb leaves. Good mix actually is garlic, a little bit of soapy water, and rhubarb leaves in a big bucket with hot water and let it sit for a couple of days. That's a great pesticide. Yeah, I don't mind goat's cheese. Sometimes I don't like the real strong one, but I don't mind goat cheese in general. Portuguese salted cod balls. I tell you what I will do, Camo. You do a video and I'll replicate it. I've got an idea what it would be, but I'll see what yours are and I'll give it a go. I'm always willing to give a recipe a go. We'll have a few Barbie videos this year. Nothing like a barbecue.
We've got to get one first.
It's true. Yeah, no, David, don't encourage people to eat apple seeds, Mr.
No.
Arsenic.
You don't even give them to animals.
What's
Same
the other
as-
worst one? I think it's the
Same as grape seeds, you don't give to animals either.
almond, something to do with the almond pith or something.
Yeah. And no, the cashew. The cashew shell.
Actually, I don't know if you guys have actually ever seen a cashew tree. I don't know if you've ever seen it. But you see the size of my hand, okay? That's the encompassment,
Pod.
and at the very top, you get one cashew. You get this bloody great big pod, and a tiny little cashew comes out the top.
Awesome.
What did you say?
Hey Guns, I made you a very nice crunchy rhubarb leaf salad with ground up apple seed dressing.
The biggest cashew trees I've ever seen were in Thailand. They're massive.
Camo doesn't have time now.
No worries, Camo. Keep it in mind. I'll certainly have a look at it.
I love chats like this.
But food is a great subject. I mean, sex is another great
I knew
subject.
you were going to say
However,
that.
you could always have something to eat.
Yes, grapes are really bad for dogs. That's right. It's the seed as well. Well, it's the seed for the dogs.
I love sitting down with white seedless grapes that have been in the fridge, and I can eat a whole bunch. Love it. Red ones are good too, but I just like the white ones a bit more.
Well, you can have both. You can eat and have sex, I suppose.
Yes, another one, the almond and the peach. Yep. Yep, you did right.
I mean, there's a fish that can kill you.
I will remind you, Chairman, it sounds interesting. Cod balls. Nothing wrong with cod.
Man, all the stuff that food actually, parts of it has, isn't it amazing? Like,
What do you
well,
mean?
it can be dangerous in some foods, but we eat them because of how
Well, as a
how we
species,
process them, how we deal
over
with them.
thousands of years, we'd all sit around a campfire and one guy would go over and say, I'm going to try and eat this rhubarb leaf. And he drops dead. And then it becomes legend. Don't eat the rhubarb leaf because it kills you.
Oh,
How do we know? Because Ted died.
I'll say a real blonde comment now. Do fish have balls, do they?
Bacaloo. All right, I will do. If you show me how to do it, I'll replicate it for you, Chemo. Not a problem.
Nicole. You could have just said yes to me. I'm a serious question now. Do fish have balls?
One of my favourite seafood dishes, all right? Stand by.
I'm not big on seafood.
And it's a bit of chicken involved in it too. You get equal amounts of chicken mince and equal amounts of prawn that you mince. Put them together. You with me? A few little herbs. You might want to throw coriander, whatever you like. I like chili and stuff. And then you make little balls out of them. Put them in a little bit of rice flour. Gently cook them. Yum. Prawn and chicken balls. You can put them on skewers. Make it like a kebab if you like.
Fish patties.
Just the sweetness of the prawn through the chicken meat, and it really sticks together really well. Or even if you just make burgers out of them. Chicken mince equal part of prawn mince put together. Whatever flavourings and herbs and spices you want to put in there.
Scarlett and Nicole, who read it, we call that fish cakes when you mush up fish with potato or whatever and crumb it and then fry it. We call it fish cakes here.
Do you know one of the most simplest dishes? Guys, you've got to listen to this because it's easy. It involves a potato, skin on if you like, and basically one potato, teaspoon of flour, and a bit of egg. Maybe 2 potatoes because the egg will be a bit sloppy. And you grate the potato. This is after you're drunk at night. Oh, I'm hungry. Grate the potato or a couple of potatoes into a bowl. Rinse it in cold water. Drain it out a bit. Teaspoon of flour. 1 egg. Mix it up. Shallow fried. All right. Medium high. I call it mock fish because it ends up looking like a piece of fish when you finish frying it, golden and crispy. All the tendrils of the potato sticking out. Talk about food after you've had a few drinks.
Have you ever had barbecued sardines, Camo asked you?
Potato pink. Have I ever had what?
Barbecued sardines.
Not on your life. Not on your life. I've thrown sardines into a lobster pot, caught lobsters with them.
Oh, potato pancakes, yum.
I'll make them one day. I'll show you how I make my mock.
Yeah, well.
My family's always called it mock fish.
fish,
It's
but-
just potatoes.
But
It's all got all the tendrily bits of the potato and it's crispy and
the
yum.
potato pancakes that my mum makes is different again than the German ones. It's grated potato with grated apple and whatever else you add in, and then you fry it. Oh, yum.
Apple's good with potato, yeah, that's for sure. I'm not keen on sardines. I mean, if fish were meant to be living in a tin, I would say yes.
No, sardines, oysters, no. What's the other one? Herrings.
Scarlett's the kind of woman that would eat a tin of sardines and then come up to me and say, "You want a kiss?" I'll be saying, "Not on your Nelly."
What's that? Langastinos. Am I saying that right? I need
Longestines, is it what you're talking about? I didn't say it, but longestines are like a long sort of prawny thing.
I need things phonetically spelt. Chamo says, fresh sardines on the barbecue are the best. Well, you are welcome to them. Oh, it's like a prawn. Okay, Scarlett.
I'll get my 2 knees up. Where are they? There they
David
are.
said, Seeds, have you tried grape jelly and
Hang on,
ketchup?
hang on. Sharon Stone moment.
Stop it. I'm trying to read what Gardens Road. Seeds, have you
Couldn't
tried
help it.
grape jelly and ketchup, a 50-50 mix, and used as a sauce with meatballs?
Sounds good.
It's nice, sweet taste.
Yeah, it will be. I mean, I do like apple sauce and lots of things. But
Scarlet
meatball
is
game.
octopus and squid. No, I don't like that either, Scarlet. Sorry.
Scangolini and calamari. I like calamari.
I know, I can't take seeds anywhere, I tell you. That's, what's the name? Who's the knee girl? She's been in for a while.
Apple sauce goes
Yeah,
with pork.
Alabama.
What I can't stand, we went out for a meal in the UK and it said roast pork. I'm thinking, you little beauty. And we get there and not one piece of crackle. I called the waiter, I said, is there any crackle? He said, no, monsieur, it's only the pig, only the pig.
Where was that?
Well, I don't know, because it's
That was in London.
yeah, roast pork with no crackle. Sacrilege.
Mind you, the line was nearly a kilometre long to have one of these pork rolls. Oh no, it wasn't. It was in one of the Europe cities. I can't remember now.
Nicole's loaf.
Nicole. Good morning, Nicole.
That's Nicole's life. I've never seen that before.
I wanted to let you know I really enjoyed your German video. So thanks, Nicole. Oh, you're a German. Yeah, I've got a few.
Guten Tag.
I've got a few videos to put up yet. I'm still editing.
No, cockles aren't mussels. When I was a kid, and Nicole can tell you this, you used to get winkles and cockles, usually old blokes in a van down by the seaside, and you get a little paper cone, newspaper cones that used to be cockles and winkles. Cockles are little shells that you see on the edge of the ocean. You dig down about 2 or 3 inches, you find cockles. Winkles are those little periwinkle type things.
Whereabouts are you from, Nicole's Life? I've seen that name before.
I just couldn't read it. Not that I couldn't see it, I couldn't read it.
Oh, Nicole's back on the internet. Guten Abend. Yeah, Guten Abend.
Yes, it is Guten Abend here.
I don't like mussels either.
No, I'd eat him if I had to, but I'm not that
I
keen.
don't mind the small mussels on men. I don't eat them.
Oh, we eat pierogies because we've got Polish people in our family. Gemma, I know exactly what you're talking about. A lot of pierogies I've had in the past, there's too much potato or yam and not enough substance. I like the ones with a bit of meat in it.
Oh, so just outside of Frankfurt. Oh, okay.
We just come from there.
Yeah, because she said she watched your videos.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And the day we left Stuttgart, the next day it snowed.
In Stuttgart, yeah.
But we had really good weather while we were there.
Oh, in Meinheim. I didn't know that. Awesome.
Yeah, Awesome's got German in it.
Yeah, I knew that.
A little bit of Stragsburg and Awesome.
Yes, I was like you with that video.
Yeah.
Talking about a sausage. You didn't say Heidenheim.
You get all different types of pierogies.
Oh, I love pierogies, yep.
But like I say, a lot of the times the Polish make it with mainly potato.
Oh, Nicole.
Nicole, don't mention the war.
Oh, Bahnhof, yeah. I went to Berlin.
We met a nice lady and her two daughters that come from Berlin.
Oh, hi, Jenny. Jen.
Oh, Jen. I think they're coming over here at one stage. A couple of years they're coming, aren't they?
Who's that?
The German lady we met with her two daughters.
Oh, yeah, in a couple of years.
Yeah, German food's good. It's not much different than English food on many levels. Flavours are different, but they love their meat. Oh yeah, I can just about verbatim Faulty Towers, VMAC, believe me. Here we go, VMAC. How many episodes of Faulty Towers were there? I'm testing you here.
Chamo says he's hungry now, so he's going to make coffee and 10 pieces of toast and butter. Oh my God, I love toast and butter. Anywhere you are, no matter if you're as full as a goog, as the old Aussie saying, if there's the smell of toast, I can eat a piece.
In my younger days, when I used to have a little bit too many and I'd go out with the sporting boys and come home a little bit tipsy, I'd always go to the kitchen and fry a couple of eggs, get a bit of bread and butter, and egg butter. We used to call it egg butty. Don't know what it is about eggs and bread after you've been drinking, but it seems to work.
Yes, Nicole's Life, we did have fun, and of course I enjoyed the food because it's all food that Mum used to cook, the homemade noodles, the spätzle and all that stuff.
But the one thing they don't have in Europe, and I mean this sincerely, they don't have a decent barbecue sauce.
No.
So any Americans going to Europe, take your own bloody barbecue sauce with you. In England they call it brown sauce. It's terrible. I love him. Mr. Fauci. What was the name of the chef, VMAC?
Oh no, Nicole, your barbecue sauce in London,
it's brown sauce.
It's called brown sauce. It doesn't taste the same as our barbecue sauce. Completely different.
My favourite episode was the American Rider. What do you call this then? I paid you $20 to get a steak. I asked for Waldorf salad and you said you're out of Waldorfs. Come here, Faulty.
Yes, your brown
Remember
sauce.
that one, VMAC?
Your brown sauce is completely different, Nicole, because I thought, oh, yummy, barbecue sauce, all brown. And, yeah, sorry, I didn't like it. I suppose I would have got used to it, but...
Yeah, no, HP sauce is not.
No, HP
JP
sauce
knows what the barbecue
different.
sauce I'm talking about. You don't get that in Europe.
and Worcestershire sauce is completely different again. The salad dressing one. What
Yeah,
one?
I know what she's talking about. Yeah.
What was? Oh yeah, yeah.
And do you remember the one VMAC with Bernard Cribbins in it? He wasn't the inspector, but Faulty thought he was, of course. I need to send you some different. Oh, we have all different types of barbecue.
Yeah, but
We're very much like the Americans here,
No,
David.
the Americans have got even different again. We've got your basic.
We've got the hickory. We've got all of them.
Yeah.
In our supermarkets, there's about 20 different barbecue sauces. But any restaurant you go in Europe, they have brown sauce, and it's not very nice.
So how are you, Jenny Jen? What's been happening?
Well, that's a bit of a low blow, David. Well, I suppose they could be taken out of context as well. Low blow.
Oh, stop it.
I didn't do it. David started.
They'll sort it out amongst themselves.
No, they don't do chicken salt. No. Actually, most of the time, they don't put salt on their pommies, or they call them in Germany they call it pommies, which is potato chips, if you like. But they don't put any salt on there, and I don't mind that. But the wife's saying, "I want my salt now."
No, I don't like chicken salt. What it is just salt, Nicole, that's flavoured like chicken. It's really strong actually. I don't like chicken
Yeah, we don't
salt.
use a lot of it. In shops here, they'll ask you, fish and chip shops will say, "Do you want salt or chicken salt?" That's generally what they do in Australia. It's sort of a seasoning with salt, Nicole. That's the best way to explain it. But I'm going to, not now, but in my kitchen, which is going to be a nice flash kitchen about here, going to have a couple of overhead cameras.
Oh my God, you're going to go professional.
No. It's just that I'm tired of moving the bloody camera around, so I'll have a camera over the top of where I'm cooking and another one where I'm prepping, so you'll get to see. And I'm no expert cook. I just like cooking. I do use a lot of paprika though. I love paprika. I love pepper in general. Good night, VMAC.
Good night, V-Mac.
Oh, g'day, I suppose, not good night. If I asked you guys what and you're not a chef and you're not a restaurant, but if I said, what is your signature dish? Mine's really simple. One that the family always love, and it's been traditionally made for 100 years in my family. It's just shepherd's pie. That's it. Nothing
Yeah,
complicated.
and
Just
mine's-
shepherd's pie.
Mine's stuffed pancakes.
What would be the dish that you'd say, Nicole, what would you say would be your signature dish? Again, you're not a chef and you're not a restaurant, but something that everyone loves, and when you make it, it all goes.
It'll be your legacy.
But shepherd's pie.
What do you mean, David, that your pasta sauce starts out red and then turns brown due to cooking it all day?
Doesn't sound like a dish I'll be going for, to be honest.
And David wrote my pasta.
Currywurst mit pommes. Yep, I know what Nicole's saying. Actually, English people love curry in any form, let's be honest. Just happen to be sausages and chips, let's be honest. That's what
Oh,
Nicole's
yeah.
saying.
Seeds uses cast iron.
I've got a couple of good cast iron fry pans. But, I mean, when I was a kid, one of the most common dinners, and Nicole's just about mentioned it, but it used to be sausage, chips, and eggs. That's an English basic, trust me. Normally the egg was a bit runny, would flow all over the
no.
chips.
Oh no.
But that would be, if the English sat down and wrote down what is sort of traditional sausage, egg, and chips. Mine is meatloaf and stuffed chicken breast.
I like meatloaf.
Sounds good.
Mine's stuffed pancakes and potato salad. That's what my kids always want.
I could literally be blindfolded and make shepherd's pie. It's I get burnt a bit, but It's just something that I just can throw together. And in my meat mix, JP would know what I'm talking about, and probably Nicole, I put a little bit of Worcestershire in the meat mix along with some HP. That certainly adds to the flavour.
When,
Shepherd's pie is just like, you know, something you can go to and you can freeze it really good. You put it in those little metal containers and then reheat it in the oven if you want it.
awesome. You need to do some cooking videos.
But the test of a true shepherd's pie is when you've like eaten half of it and there's half left in the baking dish, that it doesn't flow away, it stays firm.
You know
That's a proper shepherd's pie.
what's nice, Nicole, is you fry potatoes, then you add a bit of onion and garlic, and then you add in the black pudding and fry it in with the potatoes. That's how my dad used to make it for us. Fried potatoes with black pudding, then put through it and fried.
I said firm, not thickness, Nicole. You had extended the license of the verbatim then. But yeah, it's got to stand on its own. In other words, when you cut it up in the morning cold, it's like just pull out a big slice. And on the very top of my mash, going on top of the shepherd's pie, I do the old fork thing, you know what I'm talking about, get a bit of ridges going, and then I sprinkle a bit of cheddar on top, a bit of paprika, a little bit of parsley, then I put it in the oven.
Beef stew.
Yeah, I love beef stew, I really do. Particularly when it's made out of beef bones, you know, with chunks of meat attached to the beef bone and the gelatin. We used to eat all sorts of things as a kid. When you mentioned blood sausage, that was one of them. I didn't know it was, but sheep's brains, liver was very common. When I was a kid, you'd have liver and onions and a bit of gravy. And I'm sure some of you would remember that. Very common. I can't remember anyone being rich when I was a kid. Everyone was the same. If anything, the division has just gone from being the same to people that are rich. And there's this huge void in between. I heard Nicole Green likes head cheese.
Don't worry about it.
That must be something you scrape off the top, is it, David?
They're having their own little discussion. Don't worry about them.
I mean, I suppose Nicole, because David said he likes making beef stew, Nicole would be quite within her rights to say, where's the beef? But food is a wonderful medium to express you.
Food brings people together too. Food
Yeah,
to
brings
have
our family together when we
good
cook.
conversations over food and
I love blue vein cheese.
oh no, I don't like blue vein cheese.
Actually, Ross, you know the one I'll be talking about? The mainland, New Zealand blue
calf's
vein.
brains.
I can eat the whole wedge. Bit of cracker.
Well, I can't time JP out. Sorry, Nicole. He's got a wrench.
Yes, blue vein, mainland cheese. Get the old knife, cut it, lay it on top of the cracker.
My dad used to, I can't think of the name of it, used to love this German cheese.
Well,
Oh, God, it stunk.
the strongest is the English one I've had, which is Gorgonzola.
No, not Gorgonzola. No,
And
no,
that
no,
sort of
no.
creamy, runny,
We just used
stinky, socky type smell.
Yeah, this cheese smelled like socks, but it wasn't Gorgonzola. It was some other cheese he used to love.
I'm not real keen on Edam. You know, the
Oh, okay, Nicole.
red wax covered cheese. I don't mind Swiss. What's the other one that we have?
Havata.
Havata. Yeah, we like Havata. We always buy.
Yes, tasty
We
cheese.
buy tasty cheese from the supermarket. I must
Cracker
admit.
Barrel.
Cracker Barrel. That's nice.
It's nice with crackers and your gherkins. Yum.
Chefficacé. What is that? Awesome. What's that in
That's
English?
Cass. Cass cheese.
You mean?
Is that the smelly cheese?
You
Awesome?
mean Cass?
Yeah. Is that the smelly cheese I'm talking about? Awesome.
Could be. Oh, she's Nicole. Nicole, life even put the little hyphenations in there because she's got that on a keyboard.
Yeah,
You got that on your bloody keyboard, haven't you?
we can do that too.
Can we?
Yeah.
Oh. Yep, it's always good fun.
Thanks, Jenny.
People
Yeah,
make it the fun. I'm not that funny. Like goat cheese. Okay.
Yeah, this cheese Dad used to love. It was disgusting in its smell. Oh my God, you'd wrap it up and put it in its own fridge.
Actually, Nicole, you can get the blue vein cheese I'm talking about, and I'm pretty sure you like a bit of blue vein. It's called Mainland, and it's in your supermarkets. What was the supermarket we go to a couple of times? Wasn't Costco.
Sainsbury.
Sainsbury. In Sainsbury, they've got the blue vein Mainland cheese. It's really nice. Nothing wrong with a bit of blue vein. In the old days, they used to make blue vein cheese. An old bloke used to make it with copper wire, and the bacteria on the copper wire would instigate the bacteria. But they now use a agent, so it's not done with copper anymore.
My mum
Well,
used to.
as I know.
My mum used to make brawn. I didn't. I grew up on that, ate that, but as I got older, I didn't like
I
it.
used to love it because it's pig's head, basically.
Oh yeah, Mum.
In the head of a pig, there's so much meat, and particularly in the cheeks, it's delicious. But what they do is they boil it all down, and it's all shredded, and all the gelatin, and then it goes firm, and then you can slice it. It's salty. It's a bit like a pork pie without the pastry. That's the best way I can describe it. And I'll tell you what I found very funny, Nicole. In Sainsbury, they sell the smallest pork pies I've ever seen in my life.
Oh, they are so cute.
2 to a packet, about the size of what we have, a 50-cent piece. Smallest pork pies. And I thought, they won't be any good. Tasted just like a pork pie, but only a mouthful. I make pork pies. It's a long drawn out process, but I do make pork pies.
Yeah, Sainsbury was a good shop. We tried all the different. What's the other shop? Marks and Spencer's we went into.
I did buy a couple of pre-made sandwiches. Like we just go up to the room and think, I can't be bothered going to dinner, so we take some sandwiches. They're pretty good, pretty well priced at about, I think, about €2 or £2.
But to show you how much I know, I thought Marks and Spencer's was this elite, expensive shop that sold fancy underwear.
Well, you're absolutely right.
Oh, am I?
Because that's what it used to be. Nicole
that's
can back
what
me
I
up.
thought.
When I was a kid, you go to Marks and Spencer's to get your socks and undies.
That's what I thought. And then when I thought,
And suspenders,
cool,
yeah,
I'm
for school.
going to go into Marks and
And
Spencer's.
Nicole says it still does.
Well, the Marks and Spencer's we went into didn't have any, because I was going to buy myself a Marks and Spencer undies, so I could say that I did.
Yeah, they never
didn't
used
have any.
They didn't have grocery when I was a kid. Actually, what they still have in the high streets, Nicole, which is good, is the old-time lolly shops with the big jars of lolly. I was glad to see that was still going, because when I was a kid, they were everywhere. Humbugs and bonbon, you name it. Hundreds of different flavours of sherbets, and so they're still there. There's ones in Earl's Court, if you ever get there. There's a real big one in Earl's Court.
Where? What?
For the train station, just a little shop
Oh, yeah, that one. Yeah,
with,
yeah.
with all the lollies you can imagine. But there's one thing you won't find in UK high streets is any Englishmen. They've all been transported to Australia or Canada because there's only Indians, Sri Lankans, Lithuanians. What else were there? A few Scandinavians, but no Englishmen work in the high street. I think it's illegal in England if you're an English person to work in a high street. Nicole, any answers to that? I thought it was a bit sad, actually. Yeah, I thought it was just, I mean, it was, when I was a kid, they all... Yes, no, it's my vice, Gemma. I do smoke. And I'm not a health advocate. I just like eating healthy. Will this be the end of me? Probably. But it's my only vice. That's it.
Oh, you have the odd drink.
The odd drink, not much. But I can tell you on statistics in my country, and it's shocking, it's not like close anymore. The biggest killer in my country is obesity.
And we're talking about food.
I was your vice. You're like a granddaughter to me, Nicole. I don't think there's any vice involved. But no, it's true. The biggest killer in Australia is obesity. Then comes heart disease. Then comes cancer in any form, be it with smoking or whatever. But I'm telling you, the world's just getting so damn fat, and it's now our biggest killer in this country. Yet, on my cigarette packet it'll say, you smoke this and you're going to die a horrible death. All our packets have these gnarly pictures on them of livers and hearts swollen and things like that. But on a Big Mac, it's just a happy smile face. Big Mac. Yum. I'm dying of obesity. But there's no warning on a burger. Is there not a sort of contradiction going on here? The biggest killer in my country is obesity, but there's only warning on cigarette packets. You'll die. If you smoke this, you'll die. This is what your liver's going to look like. However, on a Big Mac, it's just a smiley face. What gives there? Why isn't there a fat tax? Processed food in general, don't take my scientific brain for it, but it's pretty obvious to me. The amount of chemicals and sodium in processed food is there to make it preserved. And when I was a kid, there was no preservatives in food, there was no additives in food, there was no colouring in foods, and I don't remember an autistic child when I was a kid. Now there's all these chemicals, and autism, skin disease, allergies. I'm not that fucking old, but there was none of that shit around when I was a kid.
There was, but just not as much.
What's the old saying? Put two and two together.
I have to go watch JP's video. I haven't seen it yet. I didn't know you put a video up, JP.
He's got a couple of videos up today.
It's
One he's having a
have
naked
you?
shower.
What?
Everyone will disappear and go look at JP's channel now.
See, I'm going. I've got to go to JP's channel. And also, did you find Caesar's naked shower?
Yeah, awesome. Did you find me in the shower? Did you stay up all night and still didn't find it? I was naked in the shower, doing a video, testing a 12-volt shower system out. She's gone very quiet.
Oh, we had a bit of fast food. Oh, no, once we had something. What did we have? Somewhere while we were away. Like we had pubs and stuff, but we didn't go have McDonald's or anything.
No, we didn't have that. We would have, normally look, it's our kids that come round and they'll drop a burger on the table and you think, oh, okay.
Yep.
But we don't, of habit, eat fast food. Oh, I see, she had to take a break.
I'll find it for you later and put the link in.
The title is 12-volt shower or something like that. Awesome. So if you just go to my channel and type in 12-volt, maybe you'll find it. I don't know. But I am naked. It was only a couple of years ago I did that. Yeah, I just think it's contradiction of terms. I mean, to give you an idea, a packet of tobacco here is $84. In Europe, it's $8. That's the difference. And the difference is the tobacco companies don't make any more money. Tax. We're taxed about $74 per packet. And yet, the biggest killer in my country is not this anymore. It still kills people, don't get me wrong. But it's obesity. And it's a case of, look, I mean, I don't know about you, but every time I have been to a fast food place, they always say, do you want to upsize big chips? Do you want to upsize big drink? See what I mean? At least when I go and buy a packet of tobacco, they don't say, do you want to upsize to the kilo or the bigger box? That's another thing in Europe, Nicole. We bought a big container of tobacco, €14. I don't know how much was in there. About 8 or 9 normal sized packets for us. And the missus didn't like it, so we actually gave it to a homeless person. Should have seen the look on his face. It's like Christmas. But that box in Australia would have been, oh God, I don't know, close to $800-900. So we're taxed to death. In fact, anyone that smokes in Australia should be given the best healthcare system in the world. But I think there's a channel we've watched recently called 2 Aussies, just the number 2 and Aussie. And he buys a whole heap of takeaway food and does reviews on them. And he's going to end up like this, I'm telling you. Oh, did you find it, did you?
Yeah, I just put it in.
There you go. There's me naked in the shower.
Oh, awesome, found it as well.
There you go. So I wasn't lying. I think my hair was a little bit longer then.
It was a lot longer.
Oh, she's looking at the video now. I don't know if my boobies were shown in that video, were they?
I can't remember.
Did you see my boobies? I haven't got any boobies, by the way. They're just rock hard. Yeah. The video was made for a friend of mine who didn't understand the process, and he lives out in the bush in Louisiana. And he ended up buying one. He said, the best thing he's ever bought.
The room's gone quiet. They've all gone to watch you naked.
I could do it here now if you like. Rip my shirt off. They're all perving at an old man. That's pretty sick, isn't it, really? I noticed that, David, when I helped build the first Kentucky Fried Chicken in a town north of Perth in the late 70s. And all the cups were about the same size as a coffee cup you get today. Oh, thanks very much, Chamo. I look younger naked. But they were, David. They were like just a normal coffee cup size. Now, they're like this.
He looks older with a beard, Chamo.
Shave all this off, I look gorgeous. Put a bit of lippy on.
Oh, that reminds me. Bully hasn't come back in.
No, you probably upset him.
Next time I see him in someone's chat, I'm going to type in there, and I bet you if he's got a wrench, he'll block me.
Funny character is Bully, that's for sure.
He can give it, but doesn't like taking it.
One thing in life you have to do, if you're willing to hand it out, you need to wear it as well. That's how it works. You shall giveth, and you shall receive it. Let's see how this hair goes. It's an annoying, like I say, it's getting to that awkward stage. Do you know what I mean? Where it's long, but not long enough. Yeah, in fact, I mean, I'll be honest, David, you and I could sit next to a dozen people who got fast food and we looked at the ingredients, we'd be able to make it up fresh food and then say, what do you reckon? Because there's one thing that annoys me. When you go in there and you see this burger on the wall, lettuce, cheese, burger, bun, beautiful. And then you get your burger and you open it up and that's what it looks like. And I'm thinking, that's not what I paid for. And people just seem to say that's okay. It's not okay. All those buns you get from those fast food places are like bloody cake bread. Terrible. Yes, I like to know what goes in. When I make my own hamburgers, I know exactly what goes in there. I was head syrup maker for Coca-Cola, Newcastle. I used to have a franchise in Western Australia, Ross. Pepsi. But I know exactly what the syrup process is. Lots of fucking sugar. Terrible. Fanta, a can of Fanta, the worst one, the worst culprit is Fanta. 18 teaspoons of sugar in 1 can of Fanta. Coke was only 12. Terrible. And what did I say about obesity being the biggest killer in Australia? You talking about my shower video, Nicole? Those buns are high in fructose? Yeah. I'm just kidding. Yes, corn syrup. They changed, as Ross would know, they changed in the late 80s. I worked for Coca-Cola before I got my Pepsi franchise, and it was a hell of a stink to pay when they took the ingredient that we all know what it is, Ross, out of Coca-Cola. Do you remember that in the late 80s? Just after the America's Cup, 88 I think it was. Boy, did people get pissed. So they put it back in. I don't think I lowered the camera that low, awesome, because I know that you don't have a really strong ticker. You know, it'd do you in. 2 firm, cute little buns. I've been very lucky in that department, because when you play sport until you're about 40 odd, you get to keep your physique. You get older, don't get me wrong, but you get to keep what you earned. Yeah, it's just staggering, isn't it, Ross? It's like, if they could see the true syrup form, they probably wouldn't drink the... Yeah, I don't show my granddaughter things like that, Nicole. Going to shock. Cardiac arrest. You probably have to get 2 big burly ambulance-men to come around and revive you.
What'd you say? Men in uniform.
Yes, I used to wear a uniform.
It's the only reason I married you. And then I got into trouble. I wasn't allowed to iron your pants, which I didn't really care.
Well, she did try and iron my uniform at one stage, and then there's 2 railway tracks going down the legs.
Oh my God, they were so fussy in the
Do you know
prison,
what I mean?
in the prison system.
Which cost me a day's pay.
Yeah, if these uniforms weren't ironed right.
Asian delivery. I think we all know where Nicole is going to end up in the future. Seoul. She'll be looking for a bit of soul food. Wouldn't cost you much to fly to Seoul. How far away is that from the UK? Probably about 8 hours, 10 hours, something like that. I'm pretty sure you get a pretty cheap flight. It's just the accommodation's the killer over there, I imagine. K-pop. I think the Koreans I've met are funny people. They like humour, they really do. Not so much the North Koreans.
What's K-pop?
Korean porn.
Oh, what is it?
Right, Nicole's Life, you have a great day. It's 6 a.m. there. Our left thumbs up. Again, thank you very much.
See you, Nicole. Have a good day. Nicole's Life.
We might knock it on the head shortly, I think. We've bored these people silly with recipes.
Oh, they've
food.
been amusing themselves.
Yeah, it's true. It's just a place to gather and chat, I guess. Nicole's lice. I think Awesome's having a bit of a crack there.
Awesome. Stop copying me doing damn auto check. That's so, I actually think misspelling sometimes so funny.
I'm not sure whether that was misspelled.
It was. Oh, come on, you gotta laugh. Some of the things I've misspelt.
It's time.
Oh, when you say things wrong. What did I say? What did I say once? I was trying to use the word.
She gets tongue twisted on a few words.
Yeah, I was trying to use the word like evocative. I don't know. No, not evocative. whatever it was, I ended up saying erotic or something, and then with the popcorn.
Yeah, you have a chat for a little while. People are talking to you.
Oh dear. What did I say with the popcorn? Oh, cock porn. I couldn't get the word out. Sometimes it just my tongue twists, push my teeth back in. Oh dear. uh, it's funny going and looking at all those. It's funny to read the chat between Guns Awesome and Nicole.
Here's a joke. It's meant to be funny, Nicole, alright, so take it on the funny. Nicole was lucky enough to get tickets to fly to New Zealand, and up in the mountains where the big Maori boys were and they were rustling a few sheep on the top of the hill, she witnessed something quite strange. Both Maoris got the sheep and tied the sheep's head against the fence. Then Nicole stood there in awe, thinking, my God. And the two Maori boys turned around and said to Nicole, do you want to have a go? And she said, yeah, but I don't want my head tied into the fence.
That's terrible.
It's funny.
Oh, God. She laughed.
It's a joke between Australians and New Zealanders. We call New Zealanders sheep shaggers. Just in jest.
Oh, same with the Welsh.
Plenty of sheep in Wales and Ireland, isn't there?
Oh my God, yeah. Heaps. Same here about people from Chicago, Awesome says.
Is it?
Yeah.
I'll tell you, there's one thing that I noticed more than anything, because my country's very different to Europe, is that I drive on the roads in Australia and there's a dead kangaroo, dead wombat, a few dead coggies, and this is only after about a mile, and it just keeps going, dead kangaroo, dead camel. Right? In Europe, there's no dead animals on the road. None. Zero. In Australia, dead lizard, dead goanna, camel, kangaroo, 8 kangaroos in a road, big truck like that lot. In the UK, nothing. No dead animals anywhere. If you came to Australia, you'd probably think, these Australians are mean, they're killing animals all the... If you're travelling at 70 mile an hour on Australian roads, you are going to hit something.
At roadkill. But they pick up
There isn't. In the US, there'd be the same. There'd be dead raccoons and all sorts of things lying on the road. Elks, mooses.
I bet you...
Not in the UK, and not in Germany, not in Europe. Either that, or European animals are very smart. They read the signs on the side of the road saying, careful, animals crossing. Not in Australia. Kangaroo goes, what the fuck's that? Oh, look at that. Oh,
No, the signs that say...
there's 2 suns coming at me.
Actually, well, where, in America where there's bears and your mooses and all those things, is there actually a lot of roadkill? It's not, no, that'd wreck your
No, US and
cars.
Canada, there'd be heaps.
What, dead bears on the road? 'cause
Well,
you
not
hit
bears
them?
in general. There'd be the odd bear, I'm sure, get hit by a truck, but it's more likely deer, elk, moose.
They'd write your car off. I mean, a kangaroo can write our car off if you hit it in the wrong part.
See, on Australian roads, a lot of them pass through massive, and I'm talking million-acre farmland. And they don't have any fences, they just have cattle grates. So you'll be driving along, as you do, thinking everything's tickety-boo, and you go down a little ridge, 50 cows on the road.
Well, it's like...
And in Australia, this is a weird one in Australia, if I hit a cow on the road, this is a national road, but it happens to be going through someone's farmland, I have to pay for the cow. I kid you not.
That's like when, because the trains, because we're such a vast country, and what's the train in the Pacific and all them?
Yeah.
They just plough into the livestock.
Well, I knew one bloke who had the contract from Geraldton to Eneabba, which is, not Eneabba, Cataby, which is halfway between Perth and Geraldton. And all he had to do goes up, Cataby and back. But he had a 3-ton truck and he threw all the dead kangaroos. And when he got home, he'd have a truckload of dead kangaroos. And what would he do the next day? Same bloody thing.
Yeah,
Every
but
day.
when it's fresh roadkill, they do use that for pet food.
Yeah. Oh, look, I mean, in Australia, experience tells me that if you're driving along and there's a kangaroo's coming out, you just hold it straight, try and put the brakes on. You try and veer, the kangaroo will sort of go with you. It's just the nature of the beast, actually. The worst animal to hit is an emu. It's got a really big body like this on tall legs, and the emu will go straight through your windscreen.
Or it's a shame if people hit eagles because they take so long to take off in flight. But do you know, when you watch animals, they usually do cross across you, and that's why you end up hitting it. But a crow will actually fly away. Do you know what I mean? Like, say we drive on the left side, and there's crows on the left side. They won't fly in front of you. They actually will fly off to the left.
Well, what I'm going to say next, David would know, in the 70s, all the cars had like these sun visors on the outside of the windscreen, about 8-10 inches thick, and they'd all be on the old Fords and Chevrolets. All of them had it, same in Australia. Now, what would happen if you hit a flock of cockies or parrots is that they get...
Stuck
I actually pulled 8 parrots out. They're all alive. They just went wedge into this outside sun visor on the old 70s cars. But you'd see them everywhere. The crockies sort of go, "What's that, a car?" Crow go,
that's right.
Crow gets out the way.
That's right, Ross. That law still goes. If you steal cattle, you can be hung. I don't think they ever changed that law.
They haven't changed the law in the territory for one thing. It was very big in the US 200 years ago. If you steal a man's horse in the Northern Territory, the legislation is that you can still be hung. But we don't have the death penalty here. But you'll be sentenced to be hung. I don't know who last stole a horse, but that's one of the weird... And there were weird laws all over the US and Australia. Like in my state, I can pull over on the side of the road, and on my driver's side back wheel, I can piss on it and not be charged for exposing myself in public. I'm not kidding you. But if I do that in New South Wales, they'll arrest me. Weird little laws that don't change in some states, and I'm sure America's no different. Really weird laws. We had the weirdest of laws in WA until about the late 70s, and it was, if you commit suicide, you will be charged.
Yeah, that was stupid.
So you commit suicide and you get charged. Wonder how you stand up in court. I didn't see what Chamo wrote there.
I was told to hit whatever is on the road, because if you try to avoid it, you will end up in the ditch.
Yeah,
and
I agree.
Tell insurance what
Just
happened.
hold your line and
they
brake.
will not believe you. No dead animal is... It never happened.
Well, it's not that. I mean, you are likely to lose control of the vehicle.
Yeah.
We drive at 70 mile an hour. I think speed limit's 65, but we all drive at 70. Yeah, we got to go too. Thanks, guys. It's good to have a little chat, have a bit of fun.
Love yous all. I'll say what Seeds
God.
doesn't like. I love you, love yous all. Go and say it. Big hug, group hug. I said group
Right,
hug.
my version. I like you, but don't get fresh.
Oh, there's an E.
Okay?
There's an E. Yes, I said group hug, not group grope.
I have to find a person. All right, guys, have a great day or night, wherever you are. And if you see someone that needs their head kicking in, do it. Particularly on Boyd, there's plenty of head kicking required.
Oh.
But I don't go there. I just send my head kickers there. Have a good one.